201, No Rivals or Enemies. Chapter 201. Title, No Rivals or Enemies. Yami POV. I am currently in my office with my eyes closed. Look through the eyes of one of the bugs, and see Shiro manhandle Team 7. He isn't my dog for nothing, he has learned from me on how to make people listen to you and how leadership works. Of course, I know that Shiro is known as the best informant in Konoha. But actually it's just him borrowing my spy network. Nothing in Konoha is out of my control, but I can't be publicly known as having my personal spy network. After all, at the end of the day the Hokage is a leader first and ninja second. A leader must seem like he can do no wrong. Just like in my first world, the president wasn't the leader of the spy network or that would put people on edge. So he has an organization that does it for him, well, more like a scapegoat. But truly though, their current D-rank mission is to find a lost dog and Konoha has grown huge under my rule. Even for a ninja that would take days to find an animal in Konoha. So they did the smart thing and went to ask Shiro. Now do I know where the lost dog for an irrelevant D-rank mission is? That would be a waste of time to know something like that, and I do know where the dog is. Who knows, that dog could be an unstable factor, or a white Zetsu disguised as a dog. Of course that isn't the truth due to the mosquitoes already having a blood sample from the dog. So I truly do control everything in Konoha. Even about the hiding criminal organizations. It takes 4 hours for Team 7 to complete the mission, and Shiro traumatized the kids. But still, as they are walking towards the Hokage Tower, I act like I am working and have a huge pile of paperwork beside my desk. Also the bridge builder is here currently, but obviously Naruto doesn't talk to me like he would talk to the third Hokage, acting so disrespectful against me is a big no. Really though, the third Hokage really tries to stop my growing power. Sheesh, can't that old guy just chill? He acts like a cooped husband stalking his wife's boyfriend. But really though, his organization is a joke. I control 70% of the members from the inside. Hiruzen is weak, he can't just kill the members who refuse him. So he listens to their reasons and such, and that is why he will never really be a nail in my way. I mean his organization is helping me figure out who the people who don't like me are and who should accidentally die in a mission. I really have no enemies or rivals. No one can threaten me. Kaguya could escape from the moon right now and I still wouldn't say that she is a threat to my life. True, she is dangerous, but the only thing she has is raw power. She can't use something like the Reaper's death seal on me, and I can't really be killed by raw power. You can obliterate my physical body, but I would just reform it into a new one around my soul. My power is immeasurable, but I want more. I am nowhere near omnipotent or omnipresent. I can destroy the world with just a thought and then remake it with another thought. I have even started caring about my children in this world. Why? Because I know that even if they decide to betray me I can easily get rid of them. With a swipe of my hand I could splatter their brains. But I wouldn't do that for nothing, they are after all my kids. I even think about Hachi sometimes, I couldn't be a father to him. His life was truly tragic if you look at it from his perspective. It's sad that he had to go and die. But I still don't let my guard down, but I have recognized the true fact, that none of my children will ever reach even 5% of my power. As I am thinking this, I hear the door open and Team 7 come in. I of course act like I am working, this is the ultimate technique for someone like me who lets my clones do all the work, well now technically I am working. Hokage-sama! Calls out Kakashi, taking me out of my thought process. I just look at him in the eyes and nod. It seems like another successful D-rank mission for Team 7. I say that with a teasing tone. Pizzing off Naruto and his teammates, but they didn't say anything. I smile at that. Anyway, Kakashi, so you think that your genin are ready for C-rank missions? After all, they did just complete the mandatory amount of D ranks needed before taking a C rank. Kakashi catches on my hidden message and decides to tease his students too by saying, I do wonder about that. They sometimes can be quite annoying. As he says that he looks at Naruto, meaning that even though he said that he actually meant that Naruto was annoying. On the other hand Naruto just clasps his hands together saying, Kakashi-sensei. I promise I will be good from now on. Just please don't let us take another D rank. I mean if I have to talk to Shiro one more time. As he thinks that, Naruto's face becomes green as if he is about to throw up. Hope he doesn't actually throw up in my office. That would be gross. In the end Kakashi seems to come to a decision and says, Okay. I guess that they can be considered to be ready for a C rank mission. I just nod. Okay then, I want you to meet. A quick check on my memories about the name of the person. Tajuna the bridge builder. You will escort him to the land of waves. Tajuna, unlike Kanon, he doesn't come in here drunk but more orderly and looks at me and nods. I nod back and give Kakashi a look, he nods too, understanding my hidden message. After some goodbyes, they go away and I am left back to my thoughts. This will be quite a bit of emotional development for Naruto and the others. It will help them grow into useful tools for me. Now I have free time again. I wonder if that intern of ours is single. Who am I joking? I don't care even if she is dating someone and is 16 years younger than me. Yami is 37 years old. I look through my memories and look through her life story. Oh wait, she actually used to be in the Inyazuka orphanage. Well, that just makes things easier on how to manipulate her. Yuaki POV. You know, watching dad flirting with a girl around my age is extremely awkward. I can see him smile at her and give her compliments. That is when he looks at me. Since I am transformed into a black cat and have even hidden my chakra, it would be hard for even S-rank sensor ninja to notice me. But this is dad, so he immediately notices me and waves. SHT, nothing really escapes him, does it? 202, Demon Brothers. Chapter 202. Title, Demon Brothers. As Naruto and the rest of Team 7, together with the bridge builder, go outside of the village. They are all just walking at normal speed, with no one talking about anything. Well, at least that is until Naruto couldn't help it anymore and asked. Hey Tashina, how is it in the land of waves anyway? Tashina just takes a flask from his jacket and takes a sip. Well, it is different from Konoha, that is for sure. Whoa. Really? Then why didn't your ninja come and escort you too? Curiously asks Naruto. At this time, the bridge builder doesn't need to say anything as Sakura intervenes by saying. Actually, the land of waves doesn't have neither a ninja village or a cage. Its natural sea defense has made the land of waves not need them. This time even Kakashi has a little to input. Yes, you are right Sakura, but due to those natural defenses, they sometimes become a double-edged sword. For example, there is not a lot of trade going in that place, after all most ships will wreck themselves and there is not any tourism due to the same reason. As they make some more small talk, Naruto asks again. So you don't have a leader, like a cage? The leader of a land isn't the Hokage, Naruto. Says Kakashi. But Naruto is confused by this. But doesn't Uncle Yami lead the land of fire? Kakashi simply answers. No, the daimyo leads the land of fire. But even as he says that, Kakashi can't help but think inside his head. At least on the surface. Every jonin worth its rank knows who really rules the land of fire behind the scenes. Yami does, it's almost common knowledge. Sasuke, when he hears Naruto ask these questions, he looks at him with a calm mocking gaze. Didn't you pay attention in the academy, Naruto? This is some basic stuff that any 6-year-old knows. Says Sasuke as he looks at Naruto. Hey! Don't look at me with those annoying eyes, team. Says Naruto as he points towards Sasuke. Who just turns his head the other way, completely ignoring Naruto. But in the end everyone is looking at Naruto, even Kakashi wonders how Naruto passed the academy like this. I guess having someone like Naruto with such monstrous chakra reserves get stuck another year would be such a waste of potential, or maybe Iruka really was being biased when he let Naruto pass. Well, I guess this is more work for me then. Teaching him some basic stuff. As Kakashi contemplates that, he sees a puddle of water at the side of the road. Amateurs, on a clear day like this, they make a puddle of water as their hiding spot. They are definitely from the hidden mist, most likely Chunin, but with their intelligence I bet that a genin could beat them. Still, he doesn't do anything and just keeps reading his book as they pass the puddle. Suddenly out of the puddle the demon brothers come out and spiked chains come out of their giant gauntlets, surrounding Kakashi. Who acts like a little panicked, but he is already out of there and is substituted towards a tree. Kakashi looks at the battle going on below and seeing that their target is the bridge builder. He can't help but sigh a little. The Hokage signaled him to expect the mission to be above C rank and that the bridge builder is lying about the mission. As Kakashi sees that the battle is in its climax. Whoosh! He appears behind the brothers and bam! Holds them in place by a chokehold, completely immobilizing them. Kakashi just looks at his students with an eye smile while casually saying, Yo! A little while later, he has gotten all of the information he needs and tied the demon brothers to a tree. Now this is just a show to his students, but in actuality he already killed them. Konoha wouldn't waste their time on useless prisoners like them and Kakashi knows that he should just kill them. But he did summon his dog and sent it towards Konoha with a message. He then looks towards the bridge builder and says, Well now, wasn't that interesting? It seems like Tashina, you are the target. Could you explain that to me? Though Kakashi said that like a question, the look on his eye made it clear that Tashina should talk or else. So Tashina immediately spilled the beans, about Gato, the land of waves and all that. Who is Gato? Asks Naruto, perplexed by this. And this time it wasn't a dumb question either, due to both Sakura and Saki not knowing about it. Kakashi just sighs at this. Well, Gato is the second richest man in the world. With a shipping empire that is, moderately successful. But he is mostly overlooked due to the richest man in the world taking all of the spotlight. Who is the richest man in the world? We never learned about that in the academy, asks Sakura, but Tajuna is the one to answer by saying. Well, that title would belong to your Hokage, Yami Inyazuka. He has been considered the richest man in the world for almost 2 decades now, earning the title at the age of 20. The Genins are surprised at this. But Kakashi adds some input by saying. Yep, that is the truth. Yami Inyazuka was already Konoha's hero and showed excellence before he even became Hokage. He didn't get famous by becoming Hokage, he became Hokage because he was famous and loved amongst the people. Naruto seems gobsmacked by that. I have to be like that to become Hokage. Kakashi just nods at this. You need to be at his level at least. He is considered the best Hokage since the founding of Konoha. It can be said that Konoha is the greatest hidden village because of the 5th Hokage. Naruto clenched his hand, forming it into a fist, while resolutely saying. I will be the best Hokage, surpassing even Yami. Kakashi sees this and his eyes widened. Naruto, if you clench your fist like that the poison might spread faster. Immediately Naruto is panicked. What? No, I am gonna die. On the other hand, in Konoha, Yami was in his office, with Yoriuki in her Jonin uniform in front of him. I need you to go and assist Kakashi. Orders Yami. Yoriuki nods at this. Of course, father. Do I need to follow any procedures or anything like that? Yami nods. Don't interfere unless one of them is dying or close to death. Also, you can freely interfere if Naruto starts using the Nine Tails chakra. Yoriuki nods at this end. Fwoosh. She disappears in a shunshin. Yami clearly sees her jump out of the window. Countless thoughts running through his head, countless scenarios playing all at once, he is calculating all of these, trying to find the best outcome for himself. Gato, the only reason he even is alive is because he has this role to play. After that, I am killing all of his men and taking over his meager business. Thinks Yami, completely relaxed at this. He has taken countermeasures for everything. So everything will go according to his plan. Author note. As we can see, Yami commands a certain respect from others. He isn't at all like Hiruzen or his predecessors. He is an absolute power, both politically and physically. He has played all of his cards right. Also, he is going to interfere with the canon timeline soon. He doesn't need to keep it straight anymore. He already has everything under control. P.S. Man, writing the ending part of this story is so hard. I wanna end it good. I had to delete half a chapter today and rewrite it again. But I liked the end result. The end of this story must be, as Yami says it. Perfect. 203, The Chunin Exams. Chapter 203. Title, The Chunin Exams. A couple of weeks later and the second confrontation with Zabuza happens. When Haku dies from Kakashi's Chidori, Naruto can't help but yell at Zabuza for being a cold monster. Zabuza on the other hand seems completely calm on the outside even as Gato kicks Haku's dead body, at least until tears come out of his eyes. Kid. He calls to Naruto. Can you let me borrow one of your kunai? Naruto seems surprised at this. But he complies and throws one of his kunai towards Zabuza, who grabs it with his teeth. Fwoosh. He immediately starts running towards Gato, who cowers back. Kill him. As Gato is running he screams in terror. What the hell is wrong with Konoha always getting in my way? That bastard Hokage of yours and now you. Always getting in my way, never letting me develop, I had no way. How can a killer ninja be so good at business, why can't he just keep to his killer way and stay in his own lane? But even though injured, Zabuza easily cuts through his men like butter and gets critically injured while at the same time he kills Gato by slashing at his throat. While Gato stumbles and falls off the bridge, he has a terrified look on his face. What, we aren't getting paid by Gato anymore? Hell, we will rob this place, says one of Gato's goons. But as they are about to say something more, a figure covered in lightning runs through them, shocking their hearts and killing them all. This surprised everyone, even Kakashi, as even with his Sharingan out he could barely keep up with the figure. It all happened in a split second, no one could react. Plop. As the bodies of Gato's goons all fall on the ground, some with foam coming out of their mouths. That is when the lightning is dispelled and a purple hair beauty is seen, by Team 7. It is Yoriuki, she looks at them and waves. Yo. Brats, hope I am not late. That is when she sees Sasuke lying on the ground covered in senbon. Is he dead? Naruto immediately rushes towards Sasuke and Sakura does the same too. But Yoriuki already knows that he is not dead, after all she was hiding all along, looking at the battle for a long time. But she decided to follow her father's orders and not interfere, though she might not be a medical ninja like her father, she knows her stuff. So she already noticed that Sasuke wasn't hit in any vital point by Haku. Yami POV. I look through the files of the Chunin exam participants. It seems like quite some people want to apply for Chunin. Well, I guess I will accept them all, they should already know the risks involved. Anyway, I will just design the same Chunin exam just like Canon. I wonder if Orochimaru will dare to attack me now instead of Hiruzen. Of course I already know the answer to that question. So just like this 1 month passes and here I am. Looking through the eyes of my mosquitoes and spying in the Chunin exam. Yoryuki is in my office, just messing around. I need her here for something about when I give her the order. After they finish the written portion of the exam. I open my eyes and look at Yoryuki, who is just playing chess, with her shadow clone, that is just sad. Doesn't she have friends? Oh. Right, she actually doesn't have any friends. Still I ordered Hiri. Yoryuki, go and stop Orochimaru when he attacks. Let him battle Sasuke and bite him. Giving him the curse mark, after that you appear and chase Orochimaru away. She just turns to look at me and nods. Dispelling her clone and going away. I know that Orochimaru will immediately run away and never come back here for years if I appear. But if it's my daughter, that would make him stay and continue his plan. As Yoryuki is about to jump off the window, I look at her and warn her. Be careful. She stops for a second and looks at me. I usually never say this, so it most likely took her by surprise. Still she just smirked. Don't worry Dad, I am your daughter after all. I just nod at that. That is true. I know that there is no way of her dying, or being so easily defeated by Orochimaru. General POV. Sakura looks shocked as Orochimaru's neck extends towards Sasuke at extreme speeds, and he bites down. Aoi screams Sasuke as he feels like lava is going through his veins, going from his neck through his body. Orochimaru smiles at this. Come and seek me Sasuke. When you want power you will come to me. I know you will. As Orochimaru says that, Sasuke falls unconscious on the giant tree trunk. She looks at Orochimaru and with tears in her eyes says. Sasuke will never join you. Orochimaru smirks creepily at that. Oh, I wouldn't be so sure Abu. As he was about to talk more. Fwoosh. Yoryuki, covered in lightning, appears next to Orochimaru and before he even has time to react. Dynamic entry. Boom. Yoryuki hits Orochimaru on the face, his body flies away like a ragdoll. Going through several trees. Yoryuki immediately follows him, leaving the genin behind. And around 200 meters away, she sees Orochimaru on the ground. But as she gets close, he turns into mud. TCH he escaped. Thought Yoryuki, looking at the mud substitution technique. She can't even sense him anymore. Though she is sure that the one she kicked was the real Orochimaru. He must have used substitution midair. Contemplates Yoryuki, coming to her conclusion. But still keeping her guard up, just in case. Also her hearing and sense of smell is enhanced by her using different jutsu, one belonging to the Inyazuka and the other to the bat summons. He can't hide his presence perfectly after all, especially while moving close by. Orochimaru on the other hand is already underground, quite far away from Yoryuki. As expected of Yami's daughter. She is truly fierce. I wanted to see Yami's son, but that would be too dangerous. Contemplates Orochimaru. Especially now that Yami most likely knows of my presence. What Orochimaru didn't know was that Yami already knew exactly where he was. What he is doing, his future plans and things about himself that even Orochimaru didn't know. Though Orochimaru never underestimates Yami, he can never be at his level of understanding anymore. So Yami's plans are beyond Orochimaru's schemes. Yoryuki just checks around and in the end she does as her father told her to. Now that she finished what she needed to do, she has to go back and look over Kaiba. Father predicted that Orochimaru might go after Kaiba. And even though a Hokage isn't supposed to be biased. Dad always says that family is everything, even if the whole world hates you, your family will always love you. 1 week later and Yami is in the preliminaries looking at the genin, he stands in front of them. The genin all feel a certain invisible pressure, as if they must listen to the Hokage. They all assume that this is the feeling of being in front of what is considered the best cage in history. Even some of the other lands have to grudgingly admit that Yami as a cage is effective. Though they still keep propaganda around, about the evilness of Yami Inyazuka. So Yami goes high up in his seat and looks around for any disguised Orochimaru, and nope there isn't one. Though there is one of the Sound 4, Teiwa, she is acting as the Jonin teacher of the Sound Genin team. The first fight was Sasuke vs Yoroi, just as Yami predicted Sasuke won. Zaku vs Shino, Shino won. Shino truly is something else. Might look to have him in the Anbu, that cruelty needed to cripple an opponent for life is something else. Contemplates Yami. Misumi vs Kankuro, Kankuro won. Sakura vs Ino, both got eliminated from the tournament. Now talk about trash level genin, they would definitely belong in the genin core. Judges Yami. Tenten vs Temari, Temari won. Tenten is good enough for a genin, but Temari is not only a counter to her abilities but at the same time, she is a high Chunin level of power already. Shikamaru vs Kin, Shikamaru won. Smart, as expected of Inara. Then comes the fight of Kaiba vs Naruto. Kaiba just looks at his father high on the pedestal while thinking. I will prove that I am worthy of being your son. Author note. Didn't want to waste time on some useless fight that you have already seen, so I just gave Yami's thoughts as a side comment to refresh your memory. P.S. Extremely boring for me to write canon moments, so I will just give an overview of what happened just to jog your memory of the events. 204, Kaiba vs Naruto. Chapter 204. Title, Kaiba vs Naruto. Kaiba just gives a side glance towards his father. His body shivers a little, he is nervous beyond belief. He has so many regrets, he was never really good enough to compare to his siblings. Yoryuki is Konoha's ace and an S-rank ninja, she and Itaka used to be in the same class, and if not for Yami stopping her from graduating early she wouldn't have fallen short of the Uchiha Itaki, the clan slayer. Then there is Hana, his sister, she is already an elite ninja at the young age of 18, she is also studying under Tsunade, as she will take over when the Slug Sunin retires as the head of medical staff in Konoha. Then there is my brother. Contemplates Kaiba. His brother, though seemingly not that talented in the ninja arts, he was always the intelligent one and he is now the daimyo. Even at 12 years old, his reign is already considered revolutionary. I need to prove to father and myself that I am worthy of being Yami Inyazuka's son. I will make him proud. Thinks Kaiba, he doesn't ridicule Naruto or anything like that. If he did it, he knows that his father would look down on him. He always says that an enemy must never be underestimated. He puts Akamaru down from the hood of his hoodie, Kaiba then gets down on his four limbs. Four-legged technique. His canine ling then, his eyes turn into slits and his nails become sharper. Whoosh. He disappears from the eyes of the genin and Naruto can't see him at all. When Kakashi sees this, he turns to Kurane, who has a smirk on her face as she looks at Kaiba. It seems like Kaiba will get the Chunin promotion this time. Says Kakashi, his lone eye staring deeply at Kurane. Who looked at him and had a mocking smile. True, ever since he became a genin, Kaiba has been training 8 hours a day. I just train him like Yami-sensei used to train us. It seems like that has quite the effect. As Kurane says that, she gives Yami a split-second look. On the other hand, when Sakura hears this, she gets a little excited. Whoa! So you were trained by the Hokage? Kurane smiles at this. Yab. It isn't widely known, but back in the day Guy and Asuma used to be in the same team. Guy picks up on this and gives Kurane a thumbs up while loudly exclaiming. Yeah. That was such a youthful time. We having each other's backs while surrounded by enemies. It truly brings back happy memories. Asuma just sighs at this. That was fun for you? We almost died on multiple occasions. It was terrifying, there were even some people who wanted to hurt Yami-sensei emotionally so they hunted us. Kurane just chuckles at this. It was definitely dangerous, but I think that at the same time, we found comrades and friends for life at those difficult moments. The genin just look at the interactions between the three with wide eyes. Never knowing that some of their teachers were teammates back in the day and they even studied under the 5th Hokage. On the other hand, in the battle down below, Kaiba had pinned Naruto down on the ground and was punching him on the face repeatedly. Give up. Says Kaiba, with a cold look on his eyes. Never. Says Naruto, even as his face was all black and purple. Bam. Kaiba just punches again, this time in the mouth. Knocking out a few of Naruto's teeth. Give up. Newer. Says Naruto, unable to form straight words with his teeth knocked off. Kaiba nods at this. I understand. He then just. Pow. Slaps Naruto's ears with his palms, with the power behind the hit rupturing his eardrums as blood starts coming out of Naruto's ears. While his eyes go dull as he sinks into unconsciousness, Kaiba then gets up and lets go of Naruto's hands that he had trapped with his legs. He didn't even allow Naruto to use any jutsu at all. The referee sees this and says. Naruto Uzumaki is knocked out, the winner is Kib. But as he is about to say that, inside Naruto's mind, he opens his eyes and looks around. He is in front of a giant cage. Where am I? Asks Naruto, confused by the situation. I was just fighting Kaiba. Suddenly a harsh and malicious voice comes from the surroundings. If you can even call that a fight. Naruto looked around confused. Who are you? Since that man is out there I can't come outside. But I can give you my chakra, and you will defeat the son of that man. Says the voice. Naruto looks around and finally he notices the giant red eye inside the dark cage. Naruto couldn't help but ask. Who? But before he could finish, he felt his conscience return back to his body. As soon as red chakra starts coming out of Naruto's body, the Konoha Jonin immediately are about to go and stop Naruto but an invisible pressure stops them all. They look at the source and see that it was the Hokage who stopped them. What is that? Asks Sakura as she can feel the heavy and malicious chakra coming out of Naruto. Kaiba too looks at this with wide eyes. Whoosh! But Naruto disappears from his view as... Pow! He feels a tremendous pain on his stomach, he coughs out of blood. Suddenly he can feel hundreds of punches hit him. What? Is this really that loser Naruto? What the hell, that is cheating. Where did this malicious chakra even come from? As blows rain down on Kaiba, he is slammed into the walls and he grabs Kaiba by the hair. Bam! And bashes his head on the floor. The Jonin and the referee wanted TK stops this but Yami calmly signals them not to do so. Naruto then keeps bashing Kaiba's head on the ground until his face is unrecognizable, his nose is bloody and twisted. But he was still conscious, and as he was about to fall unconscious and his head is pulled up by Naruto, he caught sight of his father. Yami like always just had a calm look on his face. Akamaru on the other hand. Bark! Jumped towards Naruto, but the puppy was just easily bashed aside and thrown into a wall. Kaiba sees this and wants to get up and fight but he can't. He feels as if his whole body is broken, he isn't far from the truth as his ribs and arms are broken. So it seems like I can't win father. Thinks Kaiba, as he gives up. He can't help but remember what his father told him when he graduated. Flashback. Kaiba looks at his father. So dad, your Yuaki told me that you have a gift for me for graduation. What is it? Yami smiles at this and ruffles Kaiba's hair. Remember son, losers are losers, so you must never lose to someone. No matter who they are. Once a loser will always be a loser, unless you are born blessed that is. Kaiba seems confused at this, but in the end he smiles. Don't worry dad. I will never lose to someone. He gives his father a thumbs up while saying that. Yami just laughs at this and gets close to Kaiba. Then this will be your gift from me son. Flashback end. I don't want to lose. Thinks Kaiba agitated. I will never lose. His hand moves and grasps Naruto's wrist. I will never lose, to no one. I am Kaiba Inyazuka, I can never lose. Such a simple ideology, that was all he wanted to not lose so he wouldn't shame his father. Crack. Naruto's wrists break under Kaiba's grasp as dark tattoos start appearing all over Kaiba's body. Every Jonin's eyes widen at this. He can already use it. Asks Kurane in bewilderment. Slowly Kaiba's skin is covered by tattoos and his hair starts growing behind his back. Inyazuka's secret technique, werewolf mode. Author note. Really having a hard time writing the ending of this story of Patreon. I know what and how to write it obviously, this ending has been planned ever since the beginning of the story. Though it changed and it got more detail along the way. I feel a little sad. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Patreon.com/holyjoker. 23 chapters in advance. Join the Discord, https://discord.gg/m9hghrm. I post pictures of different characters and such. 205, Chunin exams come at an abrupt end. Chapter 205, Bonus Chapter. Title, Chunin exams come at an abrupt end. Kaiba's curse mark spreads all over his body, his hair grows long, his nails grow like spikes. His eyes turn black with yellow slits, his skin darkens as Fuinjutsu markings spread all over his body. His face slowly extends out of his head turning into a wolf's head, his body also bucks up a little, and dark fur grows all over his body. Kurane immediately looks at this panicked. He immediately entered the second stage, that is dangerous. Only elite Jonin of the Inyazuka clan can enter and control that mode. She looks towards Yami, but she sees that he still has that calm look on his face and hasn't interfered. So she calms down, completely trusting Yami. Kakashi pulls up his headband and looks at Kaiba. His chakra is moving uncontrollably all over his body. Unlike the elite Jonin like Aki or such, Kaiba won't be able to control himself. This technique isn't something that can be just learned by any Inyazuka. Whoosh! Kaiba, like a beast, with no technique at all, descends upon Naruto. Naruto's red eyes with slits on them widen in surprise. As Kaiba appears below him and... Pow! Naruto is kicked in the air, due to the strong hit Naruto coughed blood. Kaiba in his werewolf form jumps up and is about to catch up to Naruto, but that is when the latter does one hand sign. Poof! A huge cloud of smoke surrounds him as dozens of clones appear around him. Pushing him out of Kaiba's way, the clones not only move him out of the way, they also push Naruto on the ground to land. Bam! As soon as Naruto lands on the ground he does another shadow clone hand sign and... Poof! The whole stadium is covered with smoke as hundreds of Naruto clones appear all over the place. Kaiba, though currently unable to think clearly, his animalistic instincts felt a threat from Naruto. I will not lose. Comes the growling voice of Kaiba from his throat. I will never lose. Screams Kaiba, creating a shockwave, causing most of the spectators to close their ears. But this was also in a way an attack, using his loud sound to hurt Naruto's close ends as they all go. Poof! Dispelling themselves, Kaiba due to being midair can't do anything. But he finally reaches the roof. He just flips and stands upside down. Boom! He immediately jumps down, creating a small crater in the thick roof, his power accelerated by gravity. Moving at flashing speeds, Naruto was unable to dodge as. Bam! An animalistic fist sinks in his stomach. But Naruto is not idle as he grabs Kaiba by the throat trying to choke him. Bam! 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 They start punching each other, covering themselves in blood. When the others saw this, they couldn't help but think. This is not a fight between genin any longer, they fight like wild animals. But in the end, with a thundering blow. Bam! Straight to Naruto's head, banging his head on the ground and knocking him out. Kaiba's werewolf mouth opens and is about to bite Naruto's neck. Kakashi is about to interfere but Yami is faster as he says. Kaiba. In instinct Kaiba answers to his name being called. When he looks at Yami. Growl. He growls like an animal. But suddenly, Kaiba stops, as soon as he looks at Yami's eyes. His instincts immediately understood the difference in power between the two. Stop. That is enough. Yami repeats himself, his face completely calm and he is sitting quite a distance from the current Kaiba's position. But his eyes had a different look in them, as soon as Kaiba saw this, he whines like a dog, falling on his back. Slowly his fur starts falling, and he starts returning back to normal. But as soon as Kaiba does, a feeling of extreme fatigue runs through his body. His body immediately shuts down, and his conscience slips away. Falling into deep sleep. The referee sees this and says. Winner, Kaiba Inyazuka. Kakashi immediately appears at Naruto's side, and when he sees the blood and damage. Naruto's face was full of blood, his front teeth are missing. His arms are twisted in weird angles. But suddenly, without Kakashi even sensing anything, like wind. Yami appears beside him, his instincts or anything didn't warn Kakashi. Yami just casually walked past him. What? I didn't notice anything. Not even the wind made noise. He looks at the other Jonin and sees that they too are surprised. No one even saw him move. He truly is monstrous, he hasn't gotten rusty at all. Yami just puts his hand on Naruto's chest and green chakra flows from his hand and surrounds Naruto's body. Slowly bone crack sounds are heard, it is as if watching time moving backwards as Naruto is healed. Even the Jonin were surprised by it, they have never seen something like this. So the mystic palm can be taken to such a level. Even Naruto's teeth regrew. This is something monstrous, they could all agree on something like that at least. Yami healed both Naruto and Kaiba, so he just ordered the medics to let them rest and they will be okay. Gaara just looked at all of this with a calm look on his face. He wasn't feeling Shikaku's screams for the first time in quite a while. The best was screaming when he saw the Nine Tails chakra, but as soon as Yami appeared, he became silent. The next fight is Neji vs Hinata. Neji has a smile on his face as he faces Hinata. Yo! Hinata, give it your best. Hinata immediately becomes embarrassed at this. Why you two, Neji Naizen? Immediately they take the Hyuga gentle fist forms, they start fighting each other. But as they fight it is noticeable who has the advantage. That is Neji as he is completely just playing with Hinata, he even advises her as they fight. Be more fluid Hinata. No need to be so nervous. Just imagine the people around us don't exist and give it your all. In the end Hinata decides to give up after a couple of minutes, seeing how Neji wasn't even trying against her. Next fight was Lee vs Gaara, in the end the winner is Gaara but only barely and even that was only because Shikaku was strangely cooperative. Yami easily heals Lee's injuries and he does the same with Gaara. And so the preliminaries are decided. Yami just gives another announcement that the next fights will be after 1 month from today. The fights will be decided by random draws. After that, Yami smirks at this as soon as they go away. Suddenly out of the shadows, Yoryuki comes out and says. So Dad, I see that you seem to be truly happy today. He just snickers. You wouldn't understand, Yoryuki. She just pouts at this. You and your secret plans. I am going to find Hana and play chess with her. Yami while still smiling just looks at her. And now Yoryuki, don't go and bother you sister. I am not bothering her. So just like this, 1 month passes and the final part of the Chunin exam comes. Neji vs Kaiba comes as the first fight, the winner is Kaiba. Due to Neji giving up in the middle of the fight, knowing that he would eventually lose and he didn't want Kaiba to exhaust himself again him and then be unable to fight at full capacity again guys like Gaara. Next fight was Temari vs Shikamaru, he lost the battle but won the war. Then comes the fight against Sasuke and Gaara. The fight is intense until feathers start falling from the sky. Yami just looks up and says to the Kazekage to his side. So, what do you think about this? Orochimaru. 206, The 5-Minute War. Chapter 206. Title, The 5-Minute War. Yami looks at Orochimaru, who just smirks at Yami and pulls off his skin, who looked like it was Raza but Orochimaru's face came from under the skin. Aren't you perfect like always Yami, never making even the smallest mistakes? Says Orochimaru, as his long tongue moves around his face. Yami on the other hand just stays sitting down and doesn't get up at all even though Orochimaru does so. Orochimaru takes off his Kazekage outfit. That just earns a bored side glance from Yami as he is just lying back on his seat. He then looks forward as he sees Sound and Sand Ninja start fighting Konoha Ninja. He, Yami, I know that no matter how relaxed you act, you are shocked by this. Says Orochimaru. You don't need to hide it. Yami on the other hand just sighs, even as the Sound Four come and form the barrier all around him. To stop him from escaping and stop people from interfering in the battle. Yami still has a bored look on his face. Even as Orochimaru does some hand signs and a crazy smile appears on his face. Summoning, Edo Tensei. Slowly, the 3 coffins are summoned. Let's see if the rumors of you being the best Hokage is true. Says Orochimaru as the 3 coffins opened. Revealing the first, second and third Hokage. Yami just looks at this. So you killed Hiruzen Hei, you probably did it by using poison. You are too weak to kill him quietly otherwise. States Yami, already knowing the truth and that Kabuto actually poisoned Hiruzen. As the Hokage open their eyes, Hashirama and Tobirama look confused while Hiruzen looks at this gravely. You were poisoned by Orochimaru old man. Says Yami to Hiruzen, who nods at this, on his face is a calm look. Most likely an Edo Tensei side effect. Hashirama looks at Yami and when he sees his uniform, he says. Oh so you must be the current Hokage. Yami just nods, turning towards Hashirama. You are quite powerful first Hokage. But it seems like your current form is too far away from your peak. You can't even seem to be in control of your own body. Yes. Says Hashirama as his hands clasp together. Wood style, deep forest emergence. Yami then says. That's a shame then. Because in your current forms. Fwoosh. In a dark flash. BAAM BAAM BAAM. The upper bodies of the 3 previous Hokage are obliterated in a split second. Orochimaru doesn't even have time to react as Yami grabs him by the throat. Crack. Breaking it immediately with no difficulty. But out of Orochimaru's mouth a white snake jumps towards Yami's face. Fwoosh. But Yami easily catches the snake and gives it a powerful squeeze. Pop. Popping the snake like a balloon, killing it. Yami looks at his uniform and sees a couple of pieces of blood at the bottom of it. He just takes them off, and under it is a dark version of the Jonin uniform. The Sound Four who are holding the purple barrier look at Yami. They are absolutely terrified of him. Yami just looks at them. I think that you should give up. They look at Orochimaru's body once more and they dispel the barrier. He just smiles at them. Fwish. And decapitates them in a split second. That is when the Anbu arrive on the roof, but when they see Orochimaru's dead body and everyone else's they are a little surprised. Yami just looks at them. You guys are too slow. I already took care of the enemy. Yami then looks at the Konoha below him fighting. Go and look around, Orochimaru planned to use a chemical poison to kill all of Konoha. So go and see if it was activated. The ninja immediately go away. And it is true Orochimaru did do that, his plan was to threaten Yami and all that. Suddenly next to him another person in Anbu mask appears next to Yami, but unlike the other Anbu he has a dark cloak around him. What are your orders Yami-sama? Yami just says calmly. Orochimaru isn't dead yet, keep spying on him. Also try and convince Sasuke to run away from Konoha just like Orochimaru planned. The figure nods and disappears like the wind. Fwoosh. Yami disappears again in a dark flash, and before the people can react. He kills the Sound Ninja by frying their brains with the lightning surrounding his body. But the Sand Ninja, he just incapacitates them. And in under 5 minutes the battle was over. That is until a giant sand Raikon appears in the outskirts of Konoha. But even then, Yoryuki looks at the beast in front of her. The giant Tanuki looks at her. So you are Yami's daughter Hui? Yoryuki doesn't answer at all. She just appears above the beast's head where Gaara was sleeping. No time to be sleeping, little brat. Says Yoryuki as she just uses a little lightning chakra. Bzzzt. Shocking Gaara awake and the sand dispelling. Yoryuki grabs Gaara in a princess carry and Fwoosh. Jumps off the sand. Gaara just looks at her strangely, his eyes are full of conflicting emotions. In the end he can only ask. Why? Yoryuki looks at Gaara, she then makes an annoyed face and says. Shut up kid, be glad I saved you. As the victim you don't have a say in it when I rescue you. And just like that, the 5-minute war was concluded. In the end, Orochimaru was used as the scapegoat of the whole thing was solved by Konoha and Suna having an arranged marriage between the Kage's families. The marriage was between Temari of the Sand and Kaiba in Yazuka. The funeral for the third Hokage was held. Even Jiraiya returned back, he was sad at the outcome of it. A lot of Konoha's citizens are mourning during this period. And during the funeral, Yami gets close to Jiraiya and says. I think that you should train Naruto. Now that Hiruzen is gone, the little super secret boy band that you made to stop my power from growing will fall over now that Hiruzen is gone. Jiraiya's eyes widen in shock at this as he looks at Yami. Who just shrugs. You thought I didn't know? This is my village, I know everything that goes on inside. Jiraiya wants to ask Yami if he had any involvement with Hiruzen's death, but he stops himself. He knows how dangerous Yami can be, he has already lost a finger. As Jiraiya starts walking away Yami says to him. Oh. By the way, I suggest that you finish training Naruto quickly. After all you did conspire against the Hokage and I would usually execute you for that, but I think that you would be more useful in a suicide mission. Give your life for Konoha, and if you survive, your sins will be forgotten. Jiraiya winces a little at this but in the end he just nods. Yami smiles and waves at him. Bye bye. Yami POV. 1 month after that day and here I am in my office, trying to whistle the Game of Thrones tune, and that is when Naruto barges in my office. We need to save Sasuke. I just look at him. Get in line and come back later. Other people need to be saved too. I casually dismiss him. But I see that Naruto gets angry and screams. Listen here Yami. We need to go and save Sasuke. When he talks to me that way I stop playing around and release a little bit of killing intent. I think that you should be careful about the way that you talk to your Hokage, Naruto. Author note. Yep, this story is almost over now. Like 1 chapter away from over. On Patreon. 207, The Tune. Chapter 207. Title, The Tune. General POV. Naruto's body trembles when he feels Yami's dangerous vibe. Yami then looks at Naruto in the eyes. Next time ask me nicely, and by next time I mean 1 hour from now. Naruto seems like he wants to refute this but the look on Yami's eyes promised something bad would happen. So Naruto listens to his instincts and goes outside. As soon as he does Yami smirks. I am not someone who can just let people talk to me like that. I am the Hokage, I need to seem like above everyone else. Anyway sadly I only have around 20 years to stay in power. By then people will be more educated and will see the uselessness of having a Hokage or even a daimyo. By then Enjanja will just be turned to soldiers and the Hokage will just be the stronger soldier. Contemplates Yami, he knows that the control he has over the world will just continue to slip away. Right now is the peak of his political power. He could kill anyone he wants and there would be no public persecution or anything like that. But this isn't the absolute power I want. After all, the god doesn't need the permission of anyone to do anything. He can destroy the world, and the other beings can do nothing but accept their fate. So political power to me is just a tool. I don't even really need it. Power is only absolute when it is omnipotent and omnipresent. Thinks Yami, as his eyes have a glossy look in them. He wonders what he will feel when he sits on that empty throne. He knows that he will never be able to find someone to truly love in this world. Everyone he looks at seems like it will break and wither away as soon as he touches it. He knows that he can't allow anyone else to be immortal like him. They will betray him with 100% certainty. He doesn't want that, even if he in a way cares for Yuriuki, he can let her go and die without a shock to him. After all, it is just the cycle of life, his first family will die too. He winces a little as he thinks of that. But he takes a deep breath. He understands what he has been and is currently doing. He will kill children and sleep like a baby the next day with no problem. He is selfish, greedy, cruel, hypocritical, lustful, gluttonous, and every other sin someone can think of. And he knows that. It seems like I will be a little lonely if, no when I reach the top. Thinks Yami, completely confident in himself. He knows that he will be either obliterated from the universe or reach godhood. These are only 2 possible alternatives for him. But he has 100% confidence in himself for he can't allow his heart to waver. He knows that he will either reach his goals in 20 years or he will never reach them. 1 hour later Naruto comes in, he has an angry look in his eyes. But this time he speaks with a respectful tone. Sasuke has been kidnapped. We need to have a team to go and get him back. Yami just nods his head. I know, I have already sent Anbu after him. It has been discovered that he has gone with them willingly. If there is a confirmation of this, he will be killed, we can't allow the Uchiha clan to be revived out of Konoha. Naruto is shaking in anger at this. What? How can you say that? Yami just looks at him calmly. You think that just because you open your mouth you will be Hokage? That isn't how the world works, Naruto. You will never be Hokage if you support a missing ninja. Konoha already suffered when a weak Hokage was sitting in this chair. Another one and Konoha might not even survive. Naruto seems conflicted at this. But Sasuke is from Konoha. This village should help its ninja. Yami sighs at this. As I said, if Sasuke was really kidnapped, we will obviously help him. If he went willingly he will be eliminated. But... stammers Naruto, not knowing what to say. But what? Says Yami as his voice becomes harsher. By the look on your face you seem to not believe in Sasuke. And seem to know that he went by his own violation. If that is the case then you know what will happen. We can't sacrifice the many for the few. How many Konoha ninja do you think will die if an Uchiha clan is developed outside of Konoha? It will be in the thousands, and all of that blood will be in your hands. A Hokage must make hard decisions like this, not be unsure and stamper around like a headless chicken. As a Hokage it is my responsibility to look out for Konoha, not Sasuke Uchiha. Naruto seems downcast by this. But Yami's eyes glint in a scheming light as he says. But I will give you a chance. Really? Asks Naruto with a joyful look on his eyes. Yes really. Says Yami, then he takes a scroll and throws it towards Naruto. This is your mission, bring back Sasuke Uchiha, low difficulty A rank mission. If you can do that, Sasuke will only have his chakra pathways destroyed and won't receive the death penalty. If you can't do this, he will be hunted down just like every other missing ninja. Naruto nods at this and goes outside with a heavy look on his face. Yami on the other hand smirks at this. Yami POV. During my first life, I always wondered how someone like Naruto can exist. But now it makes perfect sense really. He isn't Naruto at all, he is just a child with a mask on his face. And that mask took him over. Naruto acted nice to everyone, he lied to himself, and now the lies have become the truth. His mask took him over, Naruto used this mask too much and he now is that mask. People trying to be nice become really nice when the mask takes over. This is the danger of the perfect act. Even I would be tricked by it if I didn't know the truth. So in a way the whole talk no jutsu that Naruto gives is simply a lie. It works in a way like I work, I give people hope due to my power and absolute certainty on what I do, so people like to rely on me. The same is with Naruto, people accept him and hive in his talks due to them all wanting to depend on someone like Naruto, who believes, no he knows of a better world. But what they all believe in is all just another giant lie, a lie that they tell to themselves so much until it becomes the truth. It seems like the crown for the best actor in Konoha goes to Naruto. The child who will never be, someone who can't even be considered a person anymore. He is just simply an ideal, of a child. I know that Naruto can be dangerous to me in the future, but he is also useful. He is someone who isn't wise or smart at all. So in general he is easily controlled. If I can control Naruto I can. A smirk appears on my face. Let's see how this goes then. I have already put countermeasures against something like that. Plus I have Koda Amatsukami, and I have used it on multiple people already. I used to be just another scared Inyazuka, who was too afraid for his life, but now I am the man who has this world in his palm, and so the world dances to my tune, just like a monkey. General POV. Naruto immediately goes, chasing after the one who kidnapped Sasuke and he had a dog in his hands. Or more specifically he is currently carrying an inkan that Shiro gave him. This will help him track Sasuke easier. Wait for me Sasuke, I will bring you back. Author note. Just finished the story on Patreon, and people said that I would drop it. Nah bro, my first story ever and I finished it. This story is finished on Patreon. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Patreon.com/holyjoker. Join the Discord, https://discord.gg/m9hghrm. 208, Sasuke vs. Chapter 208. Title, Sasuke vs. As Naruto is chasing after Sasuke, Shiro takes this moment to grumpily say. I am just a simple dog with a strip club. I am not that strong. Naruto nods at this. No need to worry, I only need you to track Sasuke. Shiro yawns at this. Sure, just go 12 kilometers forward from here and you will meet him. It seems like he together with his companion have stopped running. Naruto nods and keeps jumping from tree to tree, suddenly he looks at Shiro in curiosity. You can even tell so much with just your sense of smell, how does that even work? Shiro looks annoyed at this. Don't ask stupid questions or I am jumping off from here. You really are like the Hokage Yami, no wonder you were his ninkin. Says Naruto. Shiro doesn't say anything, he just positions himself on top of Naruto's head. Stupid brat, as if someone like you can ever comprehend someone like Yami. He is an entity that cannot be understood by anyone in this world. In comparison to him we are all just stupid idiots. Thinks Shiro, full of conviction. He knows how Yami is, he hates it when a brat like Naruto even dares to think that he can understand Yami. It doesn't take long for Naruto and Shiro to catch up to Sasuke, and the other guy had red hair and he had horns on his head. Shiro looks at the giant sealed urn next to the guy and says, Sasuke is inside that urn, but we must fight this guy first, he doesn't seem like someone to just let us go. Naruto nods at this and he makes a shadow clone and puts out his hand with his clone scratching the air around his palm and slowly a raised nan is formed in his palm. Take this! Screams Naruto as he charges towards the person who has a smirk on his face and charges towards Naruto as slowly straight lines spread all over his body, turning his skin red and the horns on the top of his head extend, and he charges towards Naruto. But as soon as he sees that Naruto is close by, he smirks and his body shines red. Shiro sees this and his eyes widen a little. It's a suicide bomber. Boom! Both Shiro and Naruto are enveloped by the explosion. Sasuke is woken up by the sound and he breaks out of the giant urn. With dark energy all around him, he looks at his hand who nor has a dark grey color. This power. It's amazing. Thinks Sasuke, totally in a trace as he looks at his hand. If I continue growing like this, I will finally be able to kill Ataka soon. He looks around him as the dust settles. He sees Naruto on the ground with seemingly no injuries, but he then sees a dog who looks like Shiro with half of his side missing and bleeding out. So that Mud protected the dope and will die out soon. Thinks Sasuke as he looks at this coldly. He then turns around and starts walking away. But then he suddenly, as soon as he turned around, he felt a coldness in the air. His body is fully covered in cold sweat. What? As he turns his head to look behind him, his body freezes in fear. A giant red eye looks at him. It is a giant dark wolf looking down on him. Steam is rising out of the creature's mouth and a dark chakra leaks out of its body. Who said that you could run? Says the creature, its voice terrifying, but it had a trait of a voice who was familiar to Sasuke. Shiro! Exclaims Sasuke, absolutely terrified. The now giant dog's smile turns malicious. Bingo! Sasuke immediately jumps back, and while midair, Shiro smiles at him mockingly. Rookie! He opens his mouth and dark energy gathers. Phew! A giant beam of darkness is shot towards Sasuke. Whoosh! He suddenly discovered that he could fly using his giant hands on his back. That was close. Shiro just smiles at this. So you can fly? Well, I can easily take care of that. Pines his claw towards Sasuke. Squirt shot. Immediately hundreds of dark beams are shot towards Sasuke's direction. It doesn't take long for Sasuke to be easily immobilized by Shiro. He is currently looking at the down Sasuke who has half his belly missing and one of his legs missing. He is on the ground bleeding out, with tears on his eyes as he looks at Shiro. Shiro on the other hand has an apathetic look on his face. You think that it's easy becoming a missing ninja? You must really consider the Hokage as someone dumb? Pathetic, you are a shame to the Uchiha clan. Then he brings his claw down to crush Sasuke. But suddenly Sasuke is swallowed by a snake and poof! Reverse summoned. Shiro just looks at this. Damn, really, no one can comprehend Yami. How the hell did he know this would happen? He makes me feel stupid. He then goes towards Naruto and puts him on his back. I really made a good decision by opening a strip club, a killer's life really isn't for me. I would rather spend my time on Hokers and C Kane than this SHT. On the other hand, in Orochimaru's base, Kabuto was experimenting with a test subject. As it is on the medical table, the test subject has a curse mark in the middle of his chest. Kabuto runs some chakra through the curse mark and does one-handed hand signs. Ugsa creams the person on the table, but he is under certain drugs so he can't really scream except heave his body shake in pain and small sounds try to come out of his throat. Slowly as his skin turns dark red due to the transition to the second stage of the curse mark. Slowly his body starts convulsing and out of his curse mark the head of a big white serpent appears. The serpent looks around and it opens its mouth. Slowly a man with pale skin and dark hair comes out. It is Orochimaru, as he opens his eyes and looks at Kabuto. His eyes narrow. You brought me back. Kabuto nods at this. Yes, Lord Orochimaru. Orochimaru nods at this. It seems like I was easily defeated by Yami. But I am not surprised at the defeat, I am more surprised at his power. Yami has definitely grown stronger. Kabuto pushes his glasses up, reflecting on the light. Yes, it would seem to be so. Also somehow he got a hold of our plans. It seems like we have a leak from the inside. Orochimaru looks at Kabuto when he mentions this, rhetorically asking him. I wonder who it is. Kabuto frowns in thoughts. We need to do a clearing of all the people in here. It could be someone from Hidden Sand, but we must be sure of this. Orochimaru's gaze becomes even more intense as he looks at Kabuto. I think I already know who it is. Kabuto seems surprised at this. Oh, you do? Well, I guess it is expected of you, Lord Orochimaru. Burst. Orochimaru's hand pierces through Kabuto's chest. Cough. Kabuto coughs blood at this, looking down at the hand unbelieving. You are the spy, says Orochimaru simply. Yami really infiltrated deep, he had spy right under my nose and I never noticed. As expected of someone like him. Well, I can play at that too. As Orochimaru says as he looks at Kabuto's dead body. Orochimaru notices that Kabuto has something on his body. He pulls something from his ninja pouch and sees that it is a scroll. He frowns at this and opens it. But he is immediately irritated to no end at what he sees written inside it. Game accepted Snakey. By the one and only Dark Cage? Degree? Degree? Orochimaru rips the paper in anger. That Fu Cur. He already predicted that I would kill Kabuto. He Fu King thinks that I am one of his little pawns. I will show that BATARD. Author note. Yami, already 100 steps ahead of his enemies. He has been solidifying his control in the world for decades now. P.S. Like always, you get one chapter for that day if the story reaches 1000 power stones. This story is finished on Patreon. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Patreon.com/holyjoker. Join the Discord, https://discord.gg/m9hghrm. 209, Dolls. Chapter 209. Title, Dolls. I just yawn a little, seeing that Orochimaru killed my spy on him. I mean he took someone who was known to spy for Konoha under his wing, what did he expect? I am not as incompetent as Danzo, Kabuto truly was my spy. He was really talented too, but at the same time he was disposable so it doesn't really matter anyway. Anyway, Naruto was brought to a hospital too. What a loser, he didn't even get to fight Sasuke and would have actually died from the explosion if Shiro wasn't there. Talk about recklessness, anyway, Sasuke is a missing ninja and Orochimaru is training him at an abandoned temple in the land of rice. Funny, Orochimaru thinks that he can escape from my schemes and be more than a pawn. He doesn't understand that ever since he escaped Konoha he has been my pawn. Kabuto would make SHT up about a person and Orochimaru would kill them, he was the perfect scapegoat. But now he is lying low to give the rest of the world the illusion that he is already dead. I put a B rank difficulty on capturing Sasuke, but I put an A rank bounty because of his valuable bloodline. But that is for show mostly. Orochimaru isn't the only one who marked Sasuke. He is Indra's reincarnation, of course I have countermeasures against him. Plus I have tracking Fuinjutsu along his spine, the inside of his skull and at the bottom of his heart. Also countless poison and explosive seals all along his body. I didn't go easy on him. Orochimaru won't notice this stuff too due to my advanced Fuinjutsu making my markings invisible. Even the Hirei Shin mark on Sasuke. Some time later, Shiro and then Tsunade come into my office. Shiro is in his miniature puppy form, and is just snoring at the side of the room. Tsunade on the other hand comes and reports something to me. Jiraiya asked me to take one Sakura Haruno under my wing. As she said that she sits down on the chair in front of me. Her ample breasts giving me a good view of her cleavage. But I still just sigh at this. You can take her as a student if you want. I am not stopping you. Though I say that casually Tsunade narrows her eyes at me. So she won't suddenly die in a mission. Oh, she thinks that I will kill her. Don't worry, I won't kill her. I am not that vain or controlling just because you got a student that I will kill her. I am quite unsure about that, you could just kill her because you decided that Jiraiya might be up to something by doing this. I just shrug at this and casually say. Oh no, it isn't that at all. It was just Naruto begging him to try and convince you to take Sakura as your student. Tsunade seems a little amused when she hears this. You just admitted to spying on very private conversations. No, I didn't admit to anything like that. I just told you that I know of this. And how do you know of this? By using my brain. You are 37 years old now, but you still act like a kid sometimes. Meh, you worry too much about age. When in reality it's just a number. So me and Tsunade joke around for another half an hour while Shiro just gives us a glance every now and then, due to waking up from our laughters. But as soon as Tsuand is outside, Shiro just looks at me and says. You wanna fuck that big titty milf, you just don't wanna admit it. I look at him laying on his back, he really even talks like a trashy person. Sigh, sometimes I wonder where did I go wrong raising this dog. 1 week after that and here I am, in one of my bars, except some waitresses there is no one here. Tsunade is drinking some whiskey, I am sitting next to her. So I just look at her as she drinks and seems sad. I understand that she must be thinking about her dead family. Jiraiya and Naruto were allowed by me to go on their little training trip. General POV. Yami puts a comforting arm around Tsunade. She seems surprised by this and looks at him with wide eyes, in the end she just leans on him. Is this our punishment for our sins? Asks Tsunade. Yami perks up at this. No. He answers. It isn't a punishment, because God doesn't exist. If he did exist, allowing things like this to happen, don't you think that he would be a cruel god then? Sunda looks surprised at this. That is a pretty depressing outlook in life that you have, Yami. As Tsunade says that, she is no longer talking to Yami as her student or as a child. Not even as her leader. She is talking to him as a friend and someone who she can rely on. Depressing but true. Says Yami. To keep people from desperation, that is why God was created. Even if he exists, then he must be pretty afraid of his creation as he never visits. Tsunade smiles at this. So God is like a deadbeat dad, huh? Yami shrugs at this. Well, he doesn't exist. There is no proof of him. But religion does help some people keep a calm state of mind as death closes by. Tsunade smirks at this. But sadly, death is a fate we will all have to accept. Even that fool Orochimaru, in his quest for immortality, he doesn't know that in the end, everyone will die. When the sun explodes or when this world ceases to exist. Yami nods at this. Yep, everyone will one day die. But even while he says that, on the inside he also added. Except me, that is. Tsunade stops leaning on him and looks at Yami, in his dark emotionless eyes. We will all die and our lives will all be unimportant in the end. Yami smirks but he shakes his head. That is not exactly correct, after all. But as Yami is about to continue he is stopped by Tsuen's lips landing on his. She then withdraws and looks at Yami. Surprised you didn't I? Yami's surprised face, morphs into a gentle smile, he shakes his head at this. You are a really needy woman, you know that. Sleeping with a married man. She smiles at this. As if I don't know that you have already Fuked, your own student, your secretary, some Jonin women and even your dog walker. If you weren't cheating with me, you would definitely be cheating with someone else. Yami smirks at this. Yes, and if I keep this up, my wife might become an alcoholic like you. Sunda looks at his eyes as she just gets up and sits on his lap facing him. As if you care. Seeing the look on Tsuen's face, Yami's smile turns malicious. You are really evil, aren't you? Even though he says that, he knows the real mental state of Tsunade. He can see her flushed face and heavy panicked breathing. She is having an existential crisis. But then again, I didn't even have to try that hard to get results. Manipulating someone as mentally fickle as Tsunade is truly easy. Concludes Yami. Tsunade seems about to come and give him another kiss. But as he grabs her by the back of her head, pulling her for a kiss and his other hand starts exploring her body, and unbuttoning some things, while taking off some others. Author note. This story is finished on Patreon. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Patreon.com/holyjoker. Join the Discord, https://discord.gg/m9hghrm. P.S. Like always, you get one chapter for that day if the story reaches 1000 power stones. 210, Kazekage Rescue Mission. Chapter 210. Title, Kazekage Rescue Mission. While Yami was having an affair with Tsunade, Yoriuki was at home, just looking at her stepmother who is only a few years older than her. Koyuki, Yami's second wife, just looks at the clock. It's 3 a.m. Yoriuki cringes a little at this. They are both in the living room, Sam and Hana have already gone to sleep. But Yoriuki is staying with Koyuki, not wanting her stepmother to be alone while waiting for her father. In the walls of the living room there are photos of the family being all happy with each other. On the surface, our family seems like a perfect family. But under that, we are a family who is very chaotic. Thinks Yoriuki. She sees that Koyuki pulls out a flask and starts drinking from it. Yoriuki cringes at this even more. She drinks to forget father's infidelity. He will sleep with another woman every night. Is this really worth it, father? Ruining your family just because of your lust. As Yoriuki thinks, her hands shake. She doesn't know how to comfort her mother. She knows her father is a terrible man, lying to herself about this is useless. But Yami is still her father and the person who would burn down the world for her. She knows this much, she will never go against him. That is sure of her. But, sometimes she can't help but question her father. Going around sleeping with other women when he has a beautiful wife here back home. He even has some. You are truly greedy, father, aren't you? Yoriuki looks down at the ground, not having the face to even look at her stepmother as she drinks. Tomorrow morning, Yoriuki and her stepmother had fallen asleep. When she opens her eyes, she looks around confused for a second, but she sees that she is in her room. Oh yeah, yesterday dad worked too long and stepmom was worried. So I decided to wait together with her. Recalls Yoriuki, remembering the last night. As she gets up, she goes back in the kitchen and there she sees Kaiba messing around like always, and her father is there too. He seems to be cooking. When he sees her he just smiles. Good morning, sleepyhead. Sorry I was too busy yesterday and it required my personal attention so I couldn't come back home. Yoryuki sees her stepmom sending her father a certain look. Ugh, so they did it last night or something. Damn it, now I have images on my head of my parents having sex. Yami just looks at his family with a smile on his face. Well, manipulating memories with the Yamanaka technique and my own techniques has amazing results. I have a stable family because of that. Honestly though, this is quite amazing. I can cheat on my wife as much as I can, with whomever I want, it's like in college and still come back to a happy family, what could a father wish for more? As Yami contemplates stuff like this, he smells that it's the perfect time to take out the bacon. Now that is a nice aroma. Says Yami as he divides food to each plate. Kaiba immediately digs in. This is amazing, Dad. Yami smiles at this. The main ingredient is love. The others smile a little at this. To them, Yami is truly the perfect husband and father. Just like this 3 years pass, a big number of the genin in the Konoha 12 are now Chunin. Naruto and Jiraiya returned to Konoha, they don't see any change in it. Except maybe a dozen or so skyscrapers added. They go towards the Hokage's tower, which seems to have gotten bigger. There also seems to be some new traveling methods called trains. This is so cool! Exclaims Naruto, looking around and the new machines who he hasn't seen anywhere else during his travels with Jiraiya. His mentor, Jiraiya on the other hand just smiles a little as he sees Naruto still act like a child even when he is 15 now. Come on Naruto, we must go and meet the 5th Hokage, you know how he can be punctual about time like this. Says Jiraiya casually, he knows that no matter how harsh and controlling Yami is, he wouldn't punish them harshly for just being late. As they enter Yami's office, they see him to be singing a stack of documents and throwing them at one of the Anbu hidden in the shadows. Who takes them and goes outside by using the window. Yami goes back to writing, not paying any attention to Naruto and Jiraiya in front of him. Jiraiya and Naruto seem uncomfortable at this. Not knowing how to act, so Jiraiya decides to just fake cough. Cough. Yami doesn't stop writing, but he just says. The Akatsuki have become more active, I want you to investigate this Jiraiya. Naruto, I need you, Sakura, Kakashi to go and rescue the Kazekage Gaara, he has been kidnapped by the Akatsuki. Alezo Yamato Inyazuka, and Sai Inyazuka will be accompanying you. They both nod at this and immediately say. We are ready. Yami nods at this. Also Naruto, Kakashi will explain the details to you. But you will be meeting Sai and Yamato later on in the mission. Yami goes back to signing papers, Naruto and Jiraiya see this as Yami dismissing them so they leave. As they exit the door and go outside. Yami stops writing and throws his paperwork towards the shadows. His face morphs into a smile, he has this perfect little scheme going on. After some days Naruto, Kakashi, and Sakura go to the land of sand. Temari was in Konoha to meet them too. As they see Naruto waving at Temari. Yo! Temari, you are here too. She smiles at him and nods. Yep, I live with my fiancé now. Naruto's eyes almost pop out of his head when he heard this. What fiancé? Yep, I am engaged to Kaiba Inyazuka now. Says Temari, shocking Naruto even more. After Naruto's shock, they started traveling, Temari started explaining to them the situation. Kaiba is also already in the sand village and since he is already a Jonin and was sent to Hidden Sand in order to help Konoha's ally. Naruto scrunched his face even more. Kaiba is a Jonin. Kakashi intervenes at this by saying. Yes, he became one at 15 years old. He is the only one of your generation to become Jonin. It's considered quite impressive for his age. After a day of traveling like this Naruto tells Sakura and Temari, that he is the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. Sakura noted at this and promised herself that she would protect Naruto from the Akatsuki who is hunting their tailed beast down. Temari was thankful that there was finally someone who could understand Gaara. Still they continued their journey toward Hidden Sand. After arriving at Tsunagakuer, Team Kakashi learned of the attack on Kankuro. Despite the failed attempt by the medics on hand, Sakura cured Kankuro, thus demonstrating her skill with medical techniques. Sakura also developed several portable antidotes rather quickly. During this time Team Guy was also sent as backup by Yami. As Team Guy were traveling, they met Kisame. Guy immediately goes into serious mode when he sees who it is. 7th gate open. Before Kisame could even react. Pow! His side was destroyed. Guy immediately said. Let's continue on. As he said that his team was completely surprised by this. When Guy saw this he just said. I don't think that he is the real Kisame, he is too weak to be an S-rank ninja, so be careful. They all nod at this. Author note. I skipped some of the things that we already saw from the anime. Due to there being no need since you have already seen the scenes. I just explained them overall, no need to extend this journey in 3 chapters needlessly with only minor changes to the story. So I told you what changes happened in the story overall. This story is finished on Patreon. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Patreon.com/holyjoker. Join the Discord, https://discord.gg/m9hghrm. PS, like always, you get one chapter for that day if the story reaches 1000 power stones. 211, Kaiba, the son of Yami Inyazuka. Chapter 211. Title, Kaiba, the son of Yami Inyazuka. As Guy killed Kisame, the real one was in the Akatsuki hideout helping the other members to extract the one-tails from Gaara. The hideout was in a dark place, with a strange statue with two giant hands in cuffs. The only members here are Sasori and Deidara, the others were all just projections. Kisame's projection looks at the other members and says, "It seems like my puppet was destroyed by Konoha's green beast." Pain looks at him and says, "It doesn't matter, we have enough time to make the extraction process happen. Even if he came here, you two don't need to fight the green beast, I will reverse summon myself to your place." Sasori and Deidara nod, but Kisame is the one who points out something by saying, "That wouldn't be smart, allowing the green beast in here you might be able to defeat him. But if the Hokage decides to use the Hiraishin, Pain, you will be slaughtered by him." Pain looks at Kisame and shakes his head. Yami Inyazuka might be strong, but even he can't fight against God. Sasori takes this time to interfere by saying, "It wouldn't be smart to attack someone like Yami, we do need to hide from someone like him. He is the one most likely to destroy our plans. If we somehow get the power of all the tailed beasts and gain the ultimate weapon, maybe then attacking him first would be an option. I know your power, Pain, but you haven't seen Yami Inyazuka's power, they say that he is the most powerful shinobi to ever live." Even Sasori's scorpion puppet's voice that hides his real body, which has a harsh voice, everyone can sense the hidden trace of fear behind the cold surface. Pain just looks at Sasori. "Neither do any of you know my real power, but anyway, time to begin now. We must extract the one-tails." Kisame still seems unconvinced by this. He knows that anyone who ever wants to become a ninja swordsman of the mist must learn about Yami Inyazuka and escape plans against him. Especially made for him. He is beyond dangerous, and even if the 7 swordsmen are together, they are to avoid a confrontation with Yami. They immediately start the sealing process. After some time, Team Guy arrives at the hideout, but Ninji has his Byakugan activated and warns his team. There is a barrier around this place, there are also 4 tags that seem to be the keys to it. Guy nods at this. "That might be a trap too, but one we will have to take. So be careful, we must save the Kazekage as fast as we can, before it's too late." That is when Kakashi, Naruto, Cho, and Sakura arrive and Guy explains to them the situation. But suddenly out of the shadow of the trees another person comes out, he is wearing an all-black Jounin uniform. It is Kaiba Inyazuka, he has a serious look on his face as he says. "They are currently inside the barrier, I can smell the 2 of them." Cho looks at Kaiba and can't help but think with a small smile on her face. "You truly are Yami's son, Kaiba Inyazuka, I will leave Temari in your hands." Kaiba, Cho, and Team 7 decide to go in while Team Guy coordinates the extraction of the seal and while triggering any traps that might be there, because they don't have time to slowly break the seal. So they must do this. After this happens, Team Guy activates a seal that makes them fight clones mirroring their power. But Guy immediately recognizes the seal. This is a seal that even Yami-sensei can't easily make. But they must have used the cursed method of seal placing by making sacrifices. Damn, this will be a little troublesome. But while this is happening, Kakashi, Naruto, Sakura, Cho, and Kaiba arrive at a cave where they see Gaara's dead body lying on the ground while Deidara is sitting on it. Sasori is inside his scorpion-slash-human-like puppet. He looks at the people in front of him and breathes a sigh of relief. It seems like the green beast isn't here. Deidara smiles at this. "You worry too much, Sasori. The green beast is no Yami, no need to piss your pants over something like this." "Shut up, Deidara, you are stupid. Also, it seems like we have his son in here," says Sasori, as he looks at Kaiba. Deidara seems a little surprised at this, but then in the end he laughs at it. "Ha ha 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 ha, I was surprised for a bit, but he doesn't seem like anything special." Naruto on the other starts leaking red malicious chakra out of his body. He looks at Deidara sitting on Gaara's dead body. "Get up from Gaara." Deidara smiles at this. "Come make me kid." As he says, a bird made out of white clay takes Gaara's body and flies away with Naruto immediately giving chase to him. Kakashi follows them too. "Stop. Naruto, don't act reckless." Kaiba seems undecided by this for a split second. But in the end he decides to stay. "Guy will help Kakashi, I need to stay here to help Sakura and Cho against Sasori." Kaiba POV. Looking at the S-rank ninja in front of me, I can't help but contemplate if I should go into werewolf mode immediately. But that would be dangerous, I currently can't keep the technique active more than 20 minutes. After that, my stamina and chakra will be drained and I will be useless in this fight. This is a hard decision to make. But I get on my fours, I can feel Akamaru on my kunao pouch, he is transformed into a kunao, in case I need it for a sneak attack. Four-legged technique. I can feel my eyes turn into slits as my nails lengthen and my claws become more pronounced. This will be the first time I will be fighting an S-rank ninja seriously. I will need to see the distance between me and him first. Whoosh! I move at extreme speeds as the ground below me cracks. I doubt that someone like Sakura can even follow my movements anymore as I form my hand into a claw-like form and run chakra through it. I see that Sasori doesn't seem to react to me as his eyes don't follow me at all. I immediately go for the guy's neck. Clank! But I see that it is somehow clocked by a wooden construct that looks like some type of scorpion tail. Immediately I go under it and ho for his neck. He turns to face me and I can see that he opens his mouth. Pew X10. Immediately I can hear some type of mechanism shooting something at me. I can barely dodge sideways and not get hit when. Crack! I hear wood cracking and see that Sakura has stopped the wooden scorpion tail from attacking me. Cho immediately yells at me. Be careful brat, don't try to take him on your own. I nod at this and jump back. I tried to see if a surprise attack might work, but it seems like that wasn't the case. Well, it doesn't matter, I simply need to keep attacking him until I can read his rhythm. His most dangerous weapon should be his poison, but Dad already made sure that I am immune to tens of thousands of poisons. I trust in Dad that this poison won't work on me too. I mean someone like Sakura can make an antidote against this. I definitely know that Dad can do something 100x better than it. It seems like I will have to come out and fight you for real now. Says Sasori, as his body breaks apart, revealing a young, red-headed man. He gives Cho and Sakura a glance but his eyes stare at me. You know, if it was your father at your age, I wouldn't dare to approach him at all. He was terrifying, I could count the ninja that would have the courage to do so in one hand, but even then, I would have some fingers left over. I keep a calm face when he says this. I know what he is doing. He is trying to rile me up or something like that. Sadly for him, I know better than to fall for petty tricks like this. Whoosh! I immediately rush him again, maybe I can destroy him this time. As I approach him, he looks at me and smiles. Bad move little dog. I can hear Sasori say suddenly a puppet comes from underground, it has shoulder-length spiky dark blue hair, suddenly out of the ground I feel something grab into my leg, stopping me from advancing at all. When I look down my eyes widen in surprise as I see that it is Iron Sand. What? How can he do that? Only close members of the Kazekage's family can. Suddenly I am all surrounded by Iron Sand and I can feel it coming at me to squish me to death. Author note. As we see, Yami is someone that almost everyone is scared of. They know that someone like him is dangerous and Orochimaru was in the Akatsuki so he told them of Yami and how dangerous he can be. Also some of them have their own personal experiences with Yami's influence and power, like Itaki, whose clan, you know. P.S. Like always, you get one chapter for that day if the story reaches 1000 power stones. This story is finished on Patreon. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Patreon.com/holyjoker. Join the Discord, https://discord.gg/m9hghrm. 212, Sasori of the Red Sand. Chapter 212. Title, Sasori of the Red Sand. Bonus Chapter. Kaiba POV. I can feel my body starting to get crushed by the Iron Sand. Immediately chakra runs through my body and I am covered in black markings all over my body, only activating stage 1 of the werewolf mode. Boom. I easily break through the Iron Sand and try to immediately go on attack. I see that Sasori is frowning when I do that. So he isn't panicking at all, then a direct attack on his body would most likely be useless just like the previous times, so. Whoosh. I go for his arm and rip it off. But I immediately feel something weird, the arm is. I look down at it, SHT, is his whole body a puppet? I see that his hand drops off and a hidden knife appears from the arm that I ripped off, and the blade comes towards my head. I immediately jump back with a frown on my face. I give Cho a side glance and see that she and Sakura are fighting the puppet who seems to be able to somehow have the Kekii Genkai for Iron Sand control. Sasori is fighting all three of us without high difficulty, even if I win like this, can this be called a true win? I know that as I am right now, I can't defeat someone like Sasori head-on. But I will never lose. Not to someone like Sasori, nor to anyone else. I can't lose, once I lose I will never be able to stop losing, Dad always said that and he has never lost. I want to be just like my father, so I too will never lose. My curse mark enters stage 2. Inyazuka Jutsu, Werewolf Mode. Immediately I can feel my senses sharpen and an instinctual rise, but I easily suppress both of them. I look at the S-rank ninja in front of me. I can instinctively feel it. This is not enough. I need more. I can feel my body starting to overheat. Akamaru jumps off and transforms back to his real form. He looks at me. Bark. I stop as I hear Akamaru. I look at him and see the worried look on his face. I smile at this. Don't worry Akamaru, I will never lose. He barks one more time. I stop for a split second and answer to him. You are right Akamaru, you are my ninkin, so help me never lose. Beastman transformation, giant. I am surrounded by a huge cloud of smoke and my senses go into overdrive. I can feel my senses starting to slip away. No. I will control this power perfectly. Giant werewolf mode. General POV. Sasori's eyes widen at the thing in front of him. He immediately starts to summon his army of puppet but... Whoosh. He feels a huge gust of wind behind him, which pushes his hair up. He hears a creepy voice behind him say. I will win. Aura. He punches Sasori and before he can react he is plummeted into the ground breaking his body to pieces. But Kaiba's attacks don't stop. Aura, 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 dot. Boom. Creating a giant crater below him. Cho and Sakura look at this, surprised at Kaiba's and his attitude. But it doesn't take long as 10 seconds later. Poof. The giant werewolf mode is dispelled and Kaiba together with Akamaru are in the ground. Kaiba is almost unconscious just like his ninkin, but before he slips into unconsciousness due to chakra exhaustion he puts his hand up. I won. And he immediately slips into unconsciousness. Yes, you did. Says a voice belonging to neither Sakura or Cho. They look and see the head of Sasori, it has cracks all around and it seems all broken. It seems like I was defeated, that kid is truly something isn't he? Cho takes this time to get close to him and she looks at her grandson with a sad look in her eyes. Sasori. Though Sasori can't see anything anymore and this is only a piece of his resident chakra talking through the head. As his weak point is already destroyed by Kaiba's rampage. Don't worry Grandma Cho. Says Sasori. I have already made my choice. He then looks at the sky as he thinks of his parents. Though I never planned on dying this way. Cho doesn't say anything as she uses her chakra strings to manipulate the two puppets who look like Sasori's parents, they go and hug Sasori's head. When he feels that his face morphs into a smile. Tell the kid that he has a long way before he can even look at his father's shadow. Cho looks down sadly. But Sasori can't see this so he just says. By the way, I heard that you are looking for Orochimaru. I have a trade meeting with him in Tenchi Bridge in the Land of Grass. His chakra starts leaking away until all of his chakra dissipates, but not before he whispers. Can you believe it the guy didn't even dare enter the Land of Fire. During the time of the fight with Sasori, Naruto and Kakashi were chasing after Deidara. Kakashi activated his own version of the Mangekyo Sharingan and aimed to use it to take Deidara's head. However, it was difficult to aim, and all he managed to remove was his arm. Deidara tried to retreat, but Naruto destroyed his clay bird with Rei's Nan and retrieved Gaara's body. Enraged and powered by the Nine Tails powers, Naruto seemed to be defeating Deidara with Rei's Nan, but it turned out to be a clay clone. Still enraged, Naruto started to appear feral as he transformed into his two-tailed form. Kakashi recognized the bad sign and used a seal tag he had received from Jiraiya to stop the transformation from proceeding any further. Naruto subsequently reverted back to his normal form. As the rest of Team Kakashi and Team Guy caught up with Naruto and Kakashi, Deidara found himself unable to escape. He swallowed some clay, turning himself into a human bomb. Niji sees this and tells everyone to get away. Deidara then swelled up and detonated. As the dust settled, Kakashi collapsed from exhaustion, explaining that he used his Mangekyo Sharingan to send the explosion to another dimension. With Naruto carrying Gaara's body, the two teams headed back to Tsunagakuer. Stopping in a grassy field near the village, Sakura checked on Gaara and pronounced him dead, making Naruto very upset. Cho moved towards Gaara and tried to use her reincarnation technique, but didn't have enough life force left to bring Gaara back to life. Naruto gladly lent his own chakra, and Cho was able to revive Gaara at the cost of her own life while the shinobi of Suna watched. While this happens Kaiba is still unconscious due to his extreme chakra exhaustion. But during this time at the battlefield where Deidara suicide exploded himself. The ground moves a little and someone comes out from underground. It is Deidara, he had one of his clones explode, making it seem like he himself did a suicide bombing. Suddenly out of the trees two people wearing Akatsuki clothing appear. One of them is wearing a spiral orange mask with the only opening in one eye of the mask, this is Tobi. The other seems like he is half fused with the tree and half of it seems like made out of darkness while the other half is pale. This is Zetsu. Tobi looks at Deidara's pitiful state and he cheerfully says. Yo! I am Tobi. So you were pitifully defeated hey? Deidara seems annoyed at this. Who the hell are you bastard? He is your new partner. Says Zetsu. Yab. It is I, the most powerful ninja. Tobi. Deidara frowns at this. I don't need this clown as my partner. Zetsu just melts into the tree. Sure, solve this amongst yourselves. Just do it quick or Yami Inyazuka will flood this place with his mosquitoes and you will both be dead then. Tch Deidara is annoyed but he still listens to Zetsu and starts walking away. Oh. Deidara-senpai, you don't have any arms, I just noticed. Wow, you really got beat up like a weakling. A tick mark appears on Deidara's forehead. Why you? Author note. Orochimaru already told the Akatsuki about Yami's spy network and different spy methods. Also everyone is cautious of Yami as it can be seen. P.S. When Kaiba fought Sasori he had no information on Sasori. So he went clueless in the fights, except knowing that he was a good puppeteer. That is why several times he was surprised by Sasori's abilities. P.S. Orochimaru and the Akatsuki don't have a bad relationship, even though Orochimaru left the organization and still keeps his Akatsuki ring around. They have the same bigger enemy. Yami. This is a change from canon, because of Yami's presence, and even though he tries to stop too many deviations, Yami still couldn't control everything. Like always, you get one chapter for that day if the story reaches 2000 power stones. 213, Tenchi Bridge Battle. Chapter 213. Title, Tenchi Bridge Battle. Yami POV. I smile as I see that Kaiba has finally reached his potential. The giant werewolf mode is something that none of the Inuzuka elite Jonin have been able to do yet. If they were able to do that and hold the technique for some time, that immediately puts them in the S-class power. My son, you have come quite far. At the age of 15, soon to be 16, you have defeated an S-rank ninja. You are quite ahead of everyone in your age group, but sadly you will be surpassed by Naruto and Sasuke soon. I can't allow you to grow to their level, son. You are my child and I care about you, Kaiba. But sadly you have a paranoid father like me, so you will never grow at their level. But at least you aren't a loser yet, so don't worry, son. 18 hours later, Naruto and Sakura are in front of me. Orochimaru will appear at Tenika Bridge. We want the chance to try the Sasuke retrieval, Hokage-sama, says Naruto with a respectful tone in his voice. He also has a nervous look on his face. Even Sakura seems to be nervous. I look at them with a serious look on my face. I will let them leave and do that, but I want to make it seem like this is the last time they can pull this bullshit. In all honesty, they can do it as much as they want. Currently, the Hokage position is no longer that beneficial to me. I could have the same results if I put someone who has my best interests in their mind, so I am planning to do that soon. I worked hard for the Hokage position, raising my political power and all that. But the time has come for me to leave this behind. Of course I will only do this at a later date. Once the 4th Ninja War is over. That is the best time when I can try and dedicate all of my time in research in a way to true omnipotence and omnipresence. In the end I just say to Sakura and Naruto with a harsh tone. This is the last time I will allow a capture, the next time you meet him. I need you to go for the kill. I see them shudder a little when they hear me say that, but he knows better than to refute me to my face. Also you two will have 2 new teammates, because Kakashi is unavailable due to using the Mangekyo Sharingan against Deidara, and Kaiba is in chakra exhaustion. Your new teammates will meet you tomorrow. They are Yamato and Sai, 2 Jonin. One of them can also handle Naruto if he decides to become troublesome if he uses the Nine Tails chakra. Naruto looks down in shame when he hears me say that. He knows that he must get a control over his chakra or else he will only be a bother to every one of his teammates and hold them down. General POV. Tomorrow early morning, Naruto and Sakura are at Konoha's East Gate. After all, even though Konoha now is a big city with skyscrapers, it's still surrounded by a wall and a barrier. I wonder who our new teammates will be. Wonders Naruto aloud. That is when in a shunshin 2 figures appear. They are both wearing Jonin uniforms. One of them is a pale guy around Naruto's age, the other seems like a man around his 20s with a slight tan and spiky brown hair. They are Sai and Yamato. Yamato looks at them and nods with a small smile on his face. Hello, Yamato Inuzuka here. I am your new squad leader. This guy next to me is Sai Inuzuka, another Konoha Jonin. Sai smiles and waves at them. Yo. I heard a lot about you from Kaiba. Naruto and Sakura smile respectfully too. Nice to meet you, Yamato, Sai. Yamato's smile brightens at this. Well, okay now guys, time to go and fight Orochimaru. Don't worry, we will kick his ass and bring Sasuke back to Konoha. Says Sai, encouraging Naruto. Though we might have to kick his ass a little too. Ha 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 ha. Naruto smiles at this. To him it seems like Yamato and Sai are both good guys who seemed hopeful at getting Sasuke back. Yamato then pulls out 2 pills and gives them each to Sakura and Naruto. There are some tree seeds that will allow me to track you in case we get separated while looking for Sasuke. Sai has already eaten one like that. Don't worry, this will be digested in 72 hours so I won't be able to track you forever. Naruto and Sakura nod at this. Tomorrow they will possibly fight Orochimaru, they must be prepared in every way and they know that. 10 hours later and they are still traveling at top speeds. 2 hours later and they are close enough to the meeting place for tomorrow. They set up camp, as they take turns being the lookout. When it's Naruto's turn, Sai wakes up and sits next to Naruto. The latter doesn't say anything, they just stay in comfortable silence. Until Sai says, "You know. I don't know how you feel. But I too have a brother. If he did something like Sasuke did, I too would be willing to do anything to get him back." He then nudges Naruto's shoulder and says again, "So don't worry, we will do everything within our powers to get Sasuke back." Naruto nods at this absent-mindedly. "Thanks. Sai." Sai just smiles and goes back to sleep again. Tomorrow, during midday, Yamato is disguised as Sasori. Whoosh! That is when Orochimaru appears on the other side of the bridge. He has a smile on his face as he looks at the person in front of him. So Yami isn't here personally, is he? Immediately Yamato understood that he had already been found out. Immediately Naruto, Sakura, and Sai appear next to him. Orochimaru's smirk widens even more when he sees this. Did Yami send you guys to your death or something like this? I mean, he is smart enough to know that you can't defeat me in any way. Or maybe he will use Hiraishin to teleport here. Yamato looks a little nervous at this on the inside. Though he is an S-rank ninja in his own right. Even he isn't sure if he can win against someone tricky like Orochimaru. Orochimaru looks at Naruto, who has started leaking a little red chakra. I wonder who is stronger? You or Sasuke? Says Orochimaru as he mocks Naruto. The latter immediately roars out loud. Roar! With that simple roar, he blows Orochimaru away. Yamato gives Naruto a side glance and contemplates. If I let him weaken Orochimaru, then I can use my wood style to easily suppress him, my wood style being a direct counter against him. But Orochimaru has no way to deal with Naruto. Orochimaru appears again, coming out of the woods, and this time, a piece of skin has fallen off his face, revealing the body that he has taken over. When Naruto sees this, he immediately goes into the three tails state, chasing after Orochimaru and clawing at his face. Boom! Orochimaru is slapped away through the forest, his body rummaging through trees. Naruto immediately goes to chase after him, breaking the bridge they were standing on at the same time. Yamato sees that they are about to fall, so he grabs both Sai and Sakura while he jumps away. Sakura has a mortified look on her face. While Sai looks a little nervous at this, he glances at Yamato and says, "Will we even be able to handle Naruto?" Yamato nods confidently at this. "Don't worry, as long as he doesn't go at the six tails form, I can safely purge the nine tails chakra out of him." Sai nods at this. "Then I will go to the hideout and look for Sasuke." Sakura seems confused at this. "What? We know of one of Orochimaru's hidden close by. If he is here, it means that there is a high chance Sasuke is there too," answers Yamato. Sakura looks amazed at this. "Sai, let me come with you." Sai shakes his head at this. "I am specialized in stealth and you are not. I can go in stealthily and find Sasuke safely." "Sorry Sakura, but I will have to go alone, it's safer this way." Sai says that and pulls out a scroll, drawing a bird on it. The bird comes to life and Sai climbs up on his back, flying away. Sakura just looks at this, her eyes filled with sadness. Yamato brings her out of her daydreaming by saying, "Sakura, let's go, we need to help Naruto against Orochimaru." Author note. As if can be seen, Sai and Yamato are different from how they were during canon. Yamato is an S-rank ninja and Sai is a jonin and at the same time is a cheerful person. His brother is also alive. This story is finished on Patreon. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Patreon.com/holyjoker. Join the Discord, https://discord.gg/m9hghrm. 214, Orochimaru vs. Chapter 214. Title, Orochimaru vs. Immediately as Sai flies towards Orochimaru's hideout, Yamato looks at Sakura and says, "Stay here, don't approach the dangerous situation, I will look for an opening to take out Orochimaru while he is fighting Naruto." She wants to refuse this, after all to her it seems like they are using Naruto like a weapon and beast, not like a human. But she thinks back on how this will help them save Sasuke, so in the end she didn't say anything. On the other hand, in the battle between Orochimaru and Naruto, the latter has already gone into four tails chakra mode. His skin is being burned by the chakra, while at the same time regenerating, creating a constant process of healing and injury. This increases cell division in order to activate the healing, so by doing this Naruto is constantly losing lifespan. Orochimaru sees this and smiles. Someone like him knows perfectly well how a tailed beast cloak works when someone doesn't have control over it. Suddenly out of Naruto's body, countless dark and light balls of condensed chakra are released, confusing Orochimaru at why he is doing this. Is he going to create a tailed beast bomb, or is each of these chakra balls a miniature beast bomb? If it's the latter, it won't really be a threat to me. As expected, the Nine Tails Jinchuriki has turned into a beast with no logical fighting skills. Thinks Orochimaru as he sees that Naruto in his tailed beast cloak pointed his tails toward his mouth, gathering the chakra balls that he spewed out from his body. So he is creating a tailed beast bomb, while it seems like this is an inferior way of creating one. The fourth Mizukage, Yagura. He can create a tailed beast bomb in seconds. Calculates Orochimaru, and he sees that the chakra is concentrated so much that it causes a crater to appear around Naruto. When he sees it, he immediately comes to the conclusion that the 9 tails beast bomb is much stronger than the 3 tails, and even he can sense that the triple Rashomon wouldn't be able to stop the bomb, but only redirect it. So he waves through some hand signs and clasps his hands on the ground. Edo Tensei. Slowly out of the ground 2 coffins appear, they have the numbers 1 and 2 written on them. Let's see how you deal with wood style, Naruto-kun. Says Orochimaru with a creepy voice. This enrages Naruto in the 4 tails Jinchuriki cloak, so he immediately throws the tailed beast bomb towards Orochimaru, who still has a smirk on his face as the 2 coffins are about to open. But before they can open, wood comes out of the ground, sealing the coffins shut. Yamato, who was quite a distance away, smirks at this. Orochimaru's eyes widened at this as he saw the tailed beast bomb heading toward him. He knew that he didn't have time to wave more than 5 hand signs. Before he can even think of what jutsu to use, his body already has started waving through the hand signs. Summoning jutsu. Poof. He put half of his chakra into the jutsu and his body is surrounded by dozens of giant snakes, slithering around him in a protective way. And that is when the tailed beast bomb hit them. Boom! Orochimaru could feel the heat of the explosion, and in 1 second that the snakes bought him, he waves some more hand signs and reverse summoning jutsu. Poof! He disappears in a puff of smoke, but he still wasn't quite fast enough as reverse summoning is slower than summoning, so the right part of his body was completely obliterated. Yamato frowns at this as he feels Orochimaru going away. TCH, seems like I couldn't kill him, even when I waited for the right moment. He then looks at Naruto and sees him rampaging around. Well, time for you to go to sleep, Naruto. He goes through a couple hand signs and giant wood hands appear below Naruto. Bam! Squishing his body, making him unable to move. Yamato immediately appeared next to him, and even as Naruto cracked the wood and was about to break through, Yamato clasped his hands together and trees started growing around the giant hands that clasped Naruto's 4-tailed form, as the 9 tails chakra was being drained. Then Yamato does a few more hand signs and the kanji for sit appears on his hand. Hokage-style 60-year-old technique, Kakuan entering society with bliss-bringing hands. He then touches Naruto's forehead and jumps back, a line of chakra connecting his hand and Naruto as the latter's Jinchuriki chakra is slowly suppressed. Ruwa-ar! And the roar slowly turned into Naruto's scream. When Yamato sees Naruto with his burned skin fall on the ground, he winces a little and makes a wood clone to go and call over Sakura so she can heal him. Damn, this is quite tiring. Yamato complains out loud. While during the same time Sai had found Orochimaru's hideout, and as soon as he entered it, he opens his giant scroll and instantly draws dozens of snakes who become animate creatures. They immediately go through the different tunnels, searching for Sasuke. A couple of minutes later, Sai is still waiting for his snakes to return, and that is when boom! An explosion is heard by him. He immediately goes of where the sound came from. When he reaches the place, it was just a scorched room with some black ink on the ground. So one of my snakes found someone, possibly Sasuke, and that person attacked immediately. Thinks Sai as he comes to his own logical conclusion. It seems like he is no longer here. He turns around, but as soon as he does so he comes in contact with a pair of Sharingan looking straight to his eyes. Sharingan, Genjutsu. SSHT. Is Sai's last though as his eyes got dull and he plummeted to the ground, unconscious, falling under a Genjutsu. Sasuke comes out of the shadows and frowns when he sees the Konoha headband on Sai. So they have discovered this hiding place too. Contemplates Sasuke as he starts walking away. On Yamato's side, Naruto has woken up and he was a little tired after being healed by Sakura. But they immediately started going towards Orochimaru's base. Sai is already there searching for Sasuke. Informs Yamato. I can sense from the tree seed in his stomach that he is still alive and well, so no need to worry about him. Naruto takes this moment to apologize by saying. Sorry Yamato-sensei, I only became a bother and didn't help with anything during this whole mission. Yamato smiles at this and looks at him. Naruto, don't worry about such small things, is Konoha ninja always look out for each other no matter what. So don't stress about such a small matter. Plus the Hokage did send me specifically for in case something like that happens. My wood style can suppress your tailed beast chakras, so don't worry. After some time they arrived at the entrance of Orochimaru's hideout, which was just a temple which seems to go underground. As they walk down the stairs, Yamato signals Naruto and Sakura to be cautious, there might be traps around here. When they arrive at the bottom of the stairs they are in a dark lit tunnel, with only SME cattles at the side of the walls as the only source of light. Yamato crouched down and put a finger on the ground, sending a chakra wave with it. Sensing the surroundings all around them, this is the sensory technique used by the second Hokage, so it had a very wide range, easily encompassing the whole underground hideout. Yamato frowns for a second and starts running forward. Sai is on the ground, he might be injured or in critical condition. Immediately Naruto and Sakura follow behind him with haste. Worried that Sai might have gotten injured. Sai, you better not be dead. Yami doesn't allow any Inyazuka to die without his permission. Thinks Yamato worriedly. When they arrive at Sai's location, they see that he is on the ground unharmed, making them release a breath of relief. Yamato notices that he has only been put under a genjutsu. He breaks him out and Sai immediately opens his eyes and says. It was Sasuke, I know here he is going. I put some tracking ink on him as I was about to fall into unconsciousness. Naruto seems conflicted at this. So. Sasuke was the one who put you under the genjutsu. Sai nods at this. Yes, but don't worry, I was only caught by surprise, it won't happen again. This time we can beat his ass and bring him back to Konoha. Says Sai in order to cheer up Naruto and not let his guilt get in the way when the battle comes. Immediately Sai starts chasing after where he sensed that Sasuke was. The others all followed him from behind. 2 minutes later and they reach an open ground and can see the sky, they look around and see that they are inside of a crater. Naruto's eyes land on someone in front of him. Someone that he hasn't seen in a long time. Author note. Orochimaru still has his hands so he can use Edo Tensei and the bunch of other jutsu that he wasn't able to do during this time during canon timeline. This story is finished on Patreon. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Patreon.com/holyjoker. Join the Discord, https://discord.gg/m9hghrm. 215, Akatsuki Suppression. Chapter 215. Title, Akatsuki Suppression. As Naruto and Sakura see Sasuke standing on top of the crater and looking down at them, they can't help but feel overjoyed. Sasuke! Whispers Sakura to herself as a tear rolls down her face. Naruto on the other hand is more aggressive in his approach as he screams at Sasuke. Sasuke! That day when I was knocked out, why didn't you try to kill me? Is this the way that you separate bonds? When Sasuke hears that he has no reaction to it. But on the inside, he whines at the memory. He remembers how Shiro almost killed him and if it wasn't for Orochimaru sending a snake to bring Sasuke back he would have died that day. But he is too proud to admit that. So in the end he just says. I have my own reasons. Fwoosh. He appears right next to Naruto and he puts his arm in front of his throat and as he pulls out his sword he says. But today, on a whim have decided to kill you. But as he pulls out his sword Kwazanji and is about to stab Naruto. Fwoosh. Sai appears and grabs Sasuke's hand. Time for round 2. Says Sai as he takes a deep breath and Pwish! Spews out black ink towards Sasuke at point-blank range. But Sasuke immediately jumps back and cuts the wave of ink in half, he frowns when suddenly. Wood comes from underground. Wood style, wood dome jutsu. Immediately a dome of wood locks Sasuke inside and he has to run chakra through his blade and jump out but immediately hundreds of vines appear from the ground and chase after him. Fire style, Great Inferno. Suddenly out of nowhere a tsunami of fire comes and clashes with the wood, destroying it in process and stopping it from advancing. Orochimaru appears next to Sasuke, who is generating chakra into the air and his hand has a huge concentration of Shakta. But Orochimaru appears next to him and catches Sasuke's hand. This is not the time to do this, Yami's Anbu are nearby. Sasuke calmly nods calmly at this and disappears together with Orochimaru in a shunshin. Yamato sees that a lot of smoke has appeared around them. He waves through some hand signs A and D. Water style, Great Waterfall. He spews a huge amount of water out of his mouth and gets rid of the fires. Sai on the other hand frowns at this. It seems like this mission is a failure. On the other hand in Konoha, Yami has a frown on his face. He recently hasn't been able to track some of Akatsuki's members' movements, that is Obito and Zetsu, he has always had problems tracking the latter. But he has always had an eye on Obito, but now that he has joined Deidara as Tobi, he has changed, they are flying as a method of travel and killing any bug that got too close to them. He can obviously tell their location, but to someone like Yami who would like to know everything about everyone he doesn't like not knowing something. Currently Obito and Deidara are fighting the Three Tails, so he finally gets up from his Hokage's seat like it was a throne and made a clone temporarily replace him. It seems like I myself must act. Thinks Yami as he sighs a little at this. Suddenly his eyes turn into the Sharingan and slowly morphing into the Mangekyo Sharingan. Kamui. His body disappears in a spiral space ripple. At this time Deidara sees Tobi messing around by swimming next to the Three Tails. Deidara throws some C4 clay bombs to knock out the Four Tails and that is when suddenly a space ripple appears in front of him and his eyes widened as Fwoosh. A hand with unimaginable speed grabs his throat as another spatial hole appears and a strange-looking Sharingan appears out of it. Koda Amatsukami. Suddenly Deidara's eyes go dull for a split second and the person who attacked him disappears as soon as he came. Deidara finally comes to his senses. He looks around strangely and thinks. Right, I should report to Yami about the recent events. Yami returns back to Konoha and dispels his clone sitting back on the Hokage chair as if it was a throne. Now I feel comfortable again. Thinks Yami as a relieved smile appears on his face. 2 weeks later news of the 2 and 3 tails getting captured by the Akatsuki appears and Yami decides to make an Akatsuki suppression mission. Giving it to Asuma and his team. He looks as they are in his office and sees Koji, Ino, and Shikamaru who are already Chunin. He looks at Asuma, who has a serious look on his face as he reads his S-rank mission. In the end he just nods. Hokage, no Yami-sensei, how hard do you think this mission is? Yami smiles and says. Well, it's actually more like 3 S-rank missions in one. But I have absolute trust in you, Asuma. Why do you want to leave it to someone else? Asuma smiles back. No way, these bastards recently just killed one of my friends. I couldn't wait to get a mission like this. A dense chakra comes out of Asuma, making it seem windy even though they are inside. His team looks at him surprised, they have never seen their teacher enraged before. He is usually nice and kinda soft. 2 days later and as Kakuzu with Haiden, were in the land of grass, and just delivered a body into the bounty station and as they come outside. Wind style, great breakthrough. Boom. A giant gust of wind came towards them, Kakuzu dodged to the side but Haiden was thrown up by the wind. Suddenly like a shadow Asuma with a cold look in his eyes appears behind Haiden and he has a kunao in his hand as. Fwish. He decapitated Haiden, and Asuma then uses his body as a foothold to jump towards Kakuzu. His kunao is coated in wind chakra as he goes towards Kakuzu like a wild beast. But the latter waves through some hand signs. Fire style, fireball. Throwing a giant fireball towards Asuma who smiles at this as he is consumed by the fire. Suddenly from behind Kakuzu, having used the replacement jutsu with a rock behind Kakuzu. Swish. Asuma stabs Kakuzu in the back, and he falls on the ground. Asuma's eyes widen as he feels someone behind him, he jumps forward as he sees that the one that he decapitated is now up and running with only some dark stitches around his throat. He is a little surprised at this but he immediately calms down and looks at Kakuzu lying on the ground. It would be safe to assume that that guy isn't dead then. Thinks Asuma. He then sighs a little and screams. Shikamaru now. Suddenly 2 shadow tendrils come towards Haiden and Kakuzu locking them in place. Asuma winces at this. I hate using this jutsu but whatever, the best time to use it is now. As he says that, he summons a raised nan in his hand. He then infuses a huge amount of wind chakra in it. Then the technique takes the form of a giant wind shrunken making a wind-cutting noise and throws it to the now restrained Akatsuki who had no time to dodge at all. Rasen Shuriken. Boom. The 2 of them are shredded to bits and Asuma starts breathing heavily as soon as he throws the technique. But he still looks at them as they get shredded to pieces. Ino, do you sense them? Calls out Asuma loudly. No. Answers a voice from inside a tree. Asuma nods and he makes an earth clone and as the Rasen Shuriken settles down he checks them and the clone nods at him. Immediately he uses a fire jutsu, burning the bodies, just like Yami had ordered him. Suddenly out of 3, Ino, Shikamaru and Koji come out. They are all surprised at his quickly Asuma took out 2 S-rank ninja. He even made it look easy. Wow, you are so strong Asuma-sensei! Exclaims Koji in surprise. Asuma looks at them in annoyance. What, did you assume that I was a weak jonin or something? Ino smiles at this and uncomfortably says. Well, you spend most of your time playing shogi with Shikamaru so. An angry tick mark appears on Asuma's forehead. What the hell? You brats, we will have triple training today. Author note. Asuma is way stronger than he was during the canon timeline. Also as we see he has a little of Yami's fighting style, to strike at the best opportunity. P.S. We also see that Whe Yami decides to act, nothing can stop him as he now has another informant from inside the Akatsuki. 216, Koda Amatsukami. Chapter 216. Title, Koda Amatsukami. During the end of November, in one of Orochimaru's bases, a 16-year-old Sasuke is in deep meditation, wondering about a decision that he should make lately. He knows that soon Orochimaru will try to take over his body. In no way he will accept that, so he can either escape Orochimaru or kill him. But what he doesn't notice is the space behind him crack behind him and a hand appears and grabs his head. His eyes widen and he attempts to go for his sword, but before he can do anything of the sort. His eyes go dull for a split second and the hand retreats back into the space crack and it disappears as if it never happened to begin with. When Sasuke comes back to his senses, he frowns a little and thinks. If I can't defeat someone like Orochimaru, how can I ever hope to kill Itaki? In Konoha Yami looks at the man in front of him. Jiraiya is in Yami's office. He is sitting in front of Yami, with his posture completely relaxed. I need you to go to that suicide mission I told you about. Says Yami, calmly and leaving no room for discussion. Jiraiya doesn't seem startled about this, he just sighs in resignation. His eyes are empty as he looks Yami on the eyes. Yami, can I ask you something? Yami nods when he hears this. Yeah, sure, I don't see why not. Jiraiya interlocks his finger and winces a little when he sees his missing pinky finger that was cut off by him in order to appease Yami. Yami, why does someone like you get everything in life? You have Tsunade in one arm and other women in the other. During my whole life, I have been the best man I could be. I tried to fix the world however little I could. Tell me, why? Why does someone as terrible as you get everything I ever wanted? Jiraiya clenches his fingers. I hate it. I am so jealous of you. Your power, women, money, and Tsunade. Why? Why does someone like you get to live happily? Jiraiya speaks his heart out to Yami, expressing his envy towards Yami and his lifestyle, his clan and his fame. Yami on the other hand listened to this with a calm look on his face. He could definitely see where Jiraiya was coming from. He didn't say anything when he was called evil by Jiraiya straight to his face. Because even though Yami doesn't see himself as evil, he knows that he has done and continues to do horrible things for his own benefits. He doesn't hate anyone that he has killed because at first hating a dead person is stupid to him. And second, he doesn't lie to himself in order to console himself. Yes, he is mostly killing killers, except some innocent children and clans. But even then they too are people and he has accepted that he doesn't have the illusion of being a good person. In the end, Yami thinks for a second on what to say to Jiraiya. In the end, he just says. I am not saying that you doing good actions has anything to do with it. Nor do my so-called evil actions have to do anything with this. It's just simple, I am powerful, that is all that there is to it. Power is just power, I have everything because of it. If you have power but don't have something else, then that means that you just don't have enough power. Does that answer your question? Jiraiya looks at Yami wide eyes full of shock. In the end, he smiles a little and sighs. I see. He then gets up and walks away. Yami smiles at this as he sees Jiraiya's back. It seems like quite some people must disappear from Konoha's history. Thinks Yami, he has already manipulated the books by educating the children that Yami is the best Hokage. The adults already see the improvements that Yami has made so they don't need to be convinced. This whole generation of people in the land of fire is in Yami's palm. Weeks later, the news of Jiraiya's death comes. Naruto is devastated by this, and his recent failure. Months later, the news of Sasuke killing Orochimaru came soon after that news of him killing Deidara and attacking Uchiha. He still hadn't returned to Konoha. When the news of Sasuke joining Akatsuki became public, Naruto fell to the pit of despair and was instructed by Yami to go and train some more in Mount Myaboka with the Toad Sage. During this time Sasuke was filled full of rage. He couldn't help but blame Konoha for Attacker's pain, and also the person named Heisenberg, together with the Hokage, Yami Inuzuka. It was a new year, in January, that is when outside of Konoha. 5 people with orange hair and one of them looking like a cyborg. They all have the Rinnegan as they look at the giant skyscraper buildings that Konoha had all around it. Pain narrows his eyes as he sees the barrier around Konoha. That will be hard to break through. Thinks Nagato, as he looks through the eyes of all of the pains. It would be smarter if we sneaked in and then attacked. There are no mosquitoes or any other bugs, not even animals around. Signifying that there is no way Yami Inuzuka can know of our attack, and even if he did, he wouldn't know the exact time. At this time Yami is in his office, not working or anything like that. He looks at the woman below him as he impaled her with his rod. Oh. Yes, Yami. Moans Tsunade, she was lying on her back. Yami grabs her breasts and starts pounding her. Tsunade howled as the pleasure that had rapidly built up in her loins finally became uncontainable and bucked as she climaxed explosively. Simultaneously, the pulsating member of Yami erupted within her, which escalated the bliss that was driving all thought from her head. Their entwined bodies pulsed again, and again, each wave of pleasure slamming into Tsunade like a tsunami, draining her of energy. It felt as if her very life force was being sucked out of her through the depths of her clenching loins, their very exodus fueling the intense pleasure she was feeling. Tsunade let her head roll back, going completely limp as she surrendered herself to the embrace of the arms that held her. All thought of resistance, of how wrong this pleasure was, momentarily driven from her mind. She didn't care that Yami has a wife and children of his own and that if this affair of theirs was made public it would ruin both of their reputations. At the same time, the Pains decided to transform into some travelers who were supposed to come to Konoha. They killed the 6 travelers. Nagato also dropped their level of chakra supply, making them at the level of the normal civilians. No technology, no bugs, animals, or humans spying on us. Thinks Nagato as he goes towards one of Konoha's security. The Chunin just waves them to pass them through. Nagato smiles at this. No matter where, humans will always let their sloth take over at boring jobs like this. He immediately claimed to one of Konoha's high skyscrapers. When he is up there, there are a lot of other tourists around them. Then Nagato points his palms down towards Konoha. Almighty push. Author note. Sorry for the late update, I just went to take an STD test today. Just to be sure, you never know. I just had a wild college year and just wanted to be sure if I got anything, thankfully I always used rubber so my results came back as okay. Ya boy ain't got no AIDS. This story is finished on Patreon. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Patreon.com/holyjoker. Join the Discord, https://discord.gg/m9hghrm. 217, Yami vs Nagato. Chapter 217. Title, Yami vs Nagato. Almighty push. An invisible wave of gravity was released from Pain's hands. The power within it is enough to easily topple Konoha. Yami and Yazuka, our biggest threat to our plans. You have to die for my vision of the world to come true. Thinks Nagato, as he has a cold look on his eyes, knowing that today he will have to slaughter the hundred of thousands of innocent people that live in Konoha. But suddenly the invisible force is stopped as a secondary green barrier is erected all around the invisible force, locking it in, and even though the barrier cracks, no power escapes it. Pain looks at this calmly. They already know that for them it would be almost impossible for Yami to not notice their presence inside Konoha. But they still came here. They know that Yami is greedy and they will have an advantage here as Yami doesn't want any collateral damage. They know that he won't be able to protect a giant city while at the same time fighting them. They think that they have him in checkmate. It doesn't matter if they die fighting Yami. If they destroy Konoha, that is enough for them. It will send everyone a message, and even if Yami is enraged, what is he gonna do? Nothing, because he can do nothing. At the same time in another place, Nagato, while controlling the pains, his real body is hidden in a tree hundreds of kilometers away from Konoha. Konan is next to him as she looks at him with sadness in her eyes. She can see that as he uses his chakra Nagato is slowly dying. A single tear comes out of her eye, remembering the countless sacrifices they have made to come here. Their dream of world peace is so close, only the 9 tails is left and then they will have enough power to stop the world from fighting anymore. Let's see if Yami can stop Konoha from being destroyed by me. Thinks Nagato, as he uses more chakra to use another all-might push. But suddenly out of nowhere a hand grabs Konan by the back of her throat and Yami appeared out of her shadow. Nagato's eyes widen at this. Yami has a cold look in his eyes and says. One more attack on Konoha and I will have my way with her right in front of you. Nagato's eyes are full of fury as he looks at Yami. But Yami simply positions himself and uses Konan as his meat shield. I will RPE her right in front of you. Maybe I will even use some clones and make this a gangbang, don't mess with me. Says Yami as his cold aura intensifies. Why you? Nagato's eyes fill with fury when he listens to what Yami said. Me? Me what? You are about to kill hundreds of thousands of people for nothing. Criticizes Yami, as if he has the moral high ground. Nagato's chakra intensifies and he seems ready to attack Yami immediately. But Yami squeezes his hand, making Konan scream in pain as she feels electricity running through his neck and all over her body. I might decide to torture her too if you keep this SHT up. Says Yami casually as if talking about the weather. Nagato clenches his teeth in anger. You bastard, what do you want? Yami smiles when he sees that Nagato's chakra calms down. That is good. I want you to pull the 5 pains out of Konoha. You have 5 seconds. 5. 4, 3. Immediately Nagato pulls his hands out of the weird tube machines that he has his hands in. He does some hand signs and slams his hand in the ground. Cough. He coughs blood as the 5 pains appear. Nagato breathes heavily at this. But he still looks at Yami. But suddenly Yami disappears in a dark flash, immediately decapitating the 6 paths of pain. He goes in front of Nagato and in half a second Yami's hair retreats back into his skull and he becomes bald. Suddenly eyes appear on the top of his head and one of the eyes looks at Nagato. Koda Amatsukami. Konan looks terrified at Yami's appearance. One of the eyes in the back of his head looks at her too. Koda Amatsukami. I then grab Nagato's neck and crack. Breaks it killing him, as his eyes are still dull and he disappears out of there in a space swirl. I could have killed him in the beginning or used Koda Amatsukami immediately. But he might have noticed me gathering chakra and ordered his pain's attack. So I took the best possible action, I lied to him and took care of him. This is how it is when you have a weakness. Konan was his undoing. Damn, I am all horny now, I was in the middle of fuking Tsunade when these goofballs decided to attack. Thinks Yami, then his mind wanders towards Konan. If he should have his way with her in the end just another Koda Amatsukami and it will make her willing. Nah, Konan with her piercings is too much for me. He just took out a syringe and got some DNA sample from the Rinnegan and disappears in a dark flash. In the end, Yami went and had his clones throw a dozen or so S-rank fire jutsu towards Konoha and he used his barriers to fight them. He looks at flames as they lick the walls of Konoha, but he just pulls out huge water walls. He yawns a little as he completely wrecks the outside of Konoha. He knows that he needs to make it seem like a great battle went on outside. 4 hours later and Yami is on top of the Hokage tower and his clones order people around, helping the civilians go into the shelters around Konoha in case Akatsuki attacks again. Yami already said loudly enough that Konoha was attacked by Akatsuki's leader and that he already killed him. But the latest of the Akatsuki might attack, so it's better for them to go to a shelter. Manipulating news and the people's perspective like this is really easy when you have control over information. And using fear to control people is the best way to make them comply. Thinks Yami, trying to learn something from this experience. He doesn't consider himself an amazing leader and he likes to advance. He is chasing after godhood and God is perfect in every way, so he must be the best leader. Suddenly he senses a chakra signature appears in Konoha. It was Naruto, who just finished learning Sage Jutsu. He returned from Mount Myaboku. Whoosh! Yami disappeared in a black flash and appeared next to Naruto. Surprisingly, Naruto immediately turns to look at Yami as he can sense him due to Naruto being in his perfect sage mode. The Akatsuki leader is dead. So no need to worry. Says Yami with a smile on his face. He can see a relieved look appear on Naruto's face. He looks at Naruto and says amusingly. What? You think Konoha is in such a bad position that it needs a kid to save it? Naruto smiles when he hears Yami's amused voice. You know, Hokage-sama, I guess I still have a long way to go before I can become a Hokage. Yami laughs out loud at this. Ha ha ha, yep. He then looks at Naruto with a fond look on his face. Naruto, it seems like you are strong enough to know about your family now. Naruto's eyes widen in shock once he hears Yami say that. Author note. Even while he is powerful, Yami doesn't play around. He takes the most efficient way towards his goals. He didn't take a chance at all to try and fight Nagato. He threatened Nagato and used his weak point, Konan, against him. Some people say that having someone you care about makes you stronger, yet, tell that to Yami? This story is finished on Patreon. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Patreon.com/holyjoker. Join the Discord, https://discord.gg/m9hghrm. 218, 5-Cage Meeting. Chapter 218. Title, 5-Cage Meeting. Yami looks Naruto in the eyes and says. Your parents. I knew them quite well. Naruto looks at Yami with a shocked look on his face. Yami has never really said anything to Naruto about his parents, even the previous Konoha elder, Hiruzen only told Naruto that his parents died during the Nine Tails attack. Naruto is intently staring at Yami, waiting for him to at least say a name. Your mother was Kushina Uzuomeki. The previous Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails. That hits Naruto like a lightning bolt, shocking him to his core. But Yami doesn't stop there as he continues saying. And your father was Minato Namikaze, the fourth Hokage. That shocks Naruto even more. What? Yami smiles when he sees Naruto's shocked face. And we were all best friends, I even studied Fuinjutsu with them. After a while Naruto starts asking Yami a bunch of questions about his parents and Yami answers semi-truthfully, editing some of the histories and downplays some of Minato's deeds just like he did in history books. In order to make himself seem greater. In the end, he got bored and stealthily changed places with one of his shadow clones. After that whole ordeal, 1 month passes, and Konoha recovers its almost non-existent damage that it suffered due to Pain's attack. And so the next meeting of the Cage from the 5 great villages comes about. The 5 Cage come to an agreement to have this Gokage, 5 Cage, meeting in the Land of Iron. So 2 weeks later and the meeting is held in an undisclosed building in a half-circular meeting table, with Mifune, the leader of the Land of Iron as the neutral party in the middle of the half-circular table. The meeting hasn't started yet due to a certain Cage not arriving yet. Currently, in the room, there were the Raikage and his bodyguards, the Kazekage and his siblings/bodyguards, the Tsuchikage Oniki with his child and grandchild as bodyguards, and the last was Mei Terumi with her bodyguards. She is new at the meetings and this is the first one she has ever attended, and actually, the meeting should have started 20 minutes ago but the Hokage hadn't arrived yet. She still remembers that time, many years ago when she was captured by Yami. She knows that the current Hokage isn't a bad guy. He didn't even treat a prisoner like her bad. Still, she was a little worried about him as he was running a little late. She looked at the other cage, she saw that most of them were annoyed and not worried at all. Though the Kazekage had a calm look on his face. The Tsuchikage saw the look on Mei's eyes and said. Don't worry about the Hokage. He always does this. Coming late is his way of saying that he isn't someone who needs to follow the rules. It's his own little game of power play. The Raikage also snorts in annoyance at this and that is the moment when the door is opened and Yami in his Hokage uniform comes in. He also had his two bodyguards, Yoryuki and Guy, who had a calm smile except for Yami who had a smirk on his face. Yo! Guys, how have you been? Haven't seen you in years and it seems like we have two new members. We seem to all be doing well, don't we? I hope your villages have been advancing as fast as Konoha has been. As Yami says that, he has a completely serious look on his face as he sits on his own seat between Mei and Gara. Still, everyone in the room can see that Yami is simply flaunting Konoha's advancements on everyone's faces. The host of this cage meeting, Mifune, doesn't say anything against Yami. No one does really, they just clench their teeth in annoyance. What are they going to do anyway, attack him? That would just start a war that they would lose and in the end, Yami would just carve territories from them. He definitely won't be polite about it either. Okay, now that everyone is here. I, Mifune, use my authority given to me by the 5 cage to declare this meeting officially started. Declares Mifune and immediately Yami starts the discussion, as his expression goes from playful to absolutely calm. I plan on raising the tariffs of the foreign merchants traveling in the Land of Fire. Declares Yami, the other cage looks at him with narrowed eyes. They know that he wants something in return for him not doing that. Oniki and A share a split-second glance. Coming to an anonymous decision between themselves. Only the daimyo of the Land of Fire has the power to do something like that. Says A, looking at Yami intently. Yami on the other hand just looks at him with a side glance as he puts his feet on the table. Oh, yeah, I mean that I will ask the daimyo of course. But I am pretty confident that he will agree with me. Everyone in the room looks at Yami with a strange look on their faces. You couldn't be more obvious, you just said that you will ask the daimyo, it's most likely the other way around. The daimyo, who is conveniently your son, asking for your permission to do something. Every one of the other cage and their bodyguards had that train of thoughts. But in the end, Yami smiles as he sees the other cage's expressions. Anyway, if our relationship was to get closer I wouldn't. I mean the daimyo wouldn't do something like that. Let's say that we, for example, helped each other hunt down some Akatsuki members, that would for sure bring us all together. Like a very dysfunctional family. I take dibs on being the drunk dad. The Reikage, contrary to his usual hate towards Yami. He agrees with Yami, not on the last sentence of what he said but everything else. His brother was recently kidnapped by Sasuke Uchiha, which is with the Akatsuki now, so he is definitely willing to work with someone like Yami to help get his brother back, or in the worst case, at last avenge him. After some discussions, and snubbing at each other, that is when suddenly a white Zetsu appears in the middle of the room and yells out loud. Sasuke Uchiha is here. I wonder where he could be hiding right now. Can you guess? Fwoosh. The Reikage immediately takes action and grabs the white Zetsu by his neck. Tell me where Sasuke Uchiha is. The white Zetsu smiles at this. How about a gam? Crack. The Reikage immediately breaks the white Zetsu's neck when he sees that the thing is just stalling for time. A turns towards his bodyguards and says. See, Darui, let's go. Boom. He breaks a wall and goes outside, searching for Sasuke. Yami has a smirk on his face during the whole thing. Isn't this nice, it seems like a certain little Uchiha traitor has come here. Oniki looks at Yami when he says that. You aren't going to look for him then. Yami gives a side glance towards Oniki. Why would I look for him, when he will come to find me? Author note. And, next chapter canon starts changing dramatically? This story is finished on Patreon. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Patreon.com/holyjoker. Join the Discord, https://discord.gg/m9hghrm. 219, Yami sits up from his throne. Chapter 219. Title, Yami sits up from his throne. Why would I look for him when he will come to find me by himself? Says Yami, with still a casual look on his face. Oniki borrows his eyes at what Yami says. He doesn't see Sasuke as a threat at all. Did he get overly arrogant while sitting on his throne or something like that? Contemplates Oniki, trying to decipher what Yami is thinking and what he is planning. He knows that whatever Yami has planned, is most likely won't be good for them. But he doesn't say anything, he knows how someone like Yami can be. Yami still has a confident smile on his face as he covered his forehead with his hair by tilting his head down, and activated his Byakugan, making veins appear all over his forehead. With a weak genjutsu on his forehead just to be safe and no one notices anything, as he just saw Sasuke's jaw crack open as I just karate chopped Sasuke's Susanoo. Yami smirks a little and stops using the Byakugan. He then looks at the other cage who are all silent, in the end, his eyes settle on Oniki's granddaughter, Kuratsuki. She has short dark hair and black pupilless eyes. Oniki notices Yami seizing up his granddaughter, he frowns at this and addresses Yami about this. Oi! Hokage, don't look at my granddaughter like that, you know that you are more than twice her age. Your daughter is literally older than her. Yami just shrugs at this and decides to look at Mei, or more specifically, he is looking at her bust, for an uncomfortable amount of time until she blushes and covers her cleavage in embarrassment. Yuryuki was confused about why her father would do something like this. But then it clicked to her. It seems like he is doing this as a form of entertainment, but that is not the case. He already got crucial information from only this small exchange. Like the Tsuchikage caring for his granddaughter very deeply and being protective of her, and also Mei Terumi portraying a strong front while she is actually just a little insecure on the inside. As expected of father, he is getting under people's skins and learning highly critical information about the other villages. Yami just smiles at them all, but then all of the cage look towards the entrance as a figure moves as fast as the wind and Fwish! Cuts of all of the hidden village banners behind the cage. The cage, none of them were concerned, and every one of them noticed that the rookie Suzuki was low on chakra. After all, someone like him doesn't get off scot-free from a fight against Gaara in the Reikage. Suzuki then stands upside down in front of the meeting room. His eyes are full of malice as he looks at them. Guy, who is next to Yami, seemed like he wanted to act but was stopped by Yami waving his hand. Sending Guy to fight Suzuki is just overkill, the boy would be crushed to paste by just one of Guy's kicks. But that didn't stop Suzuki as he comes towards Yami with the intent to kill. His sword slashes towards Yami, who still has his legs on the table and his hands behind his head. He is completely relaxed and has a small smile on his face. "You are not yet ready for this stage, Suzuki," says Yang sarcastically. Suzuki seems confused for a second until he feels an attack heading for his stomach. He immediately activates his Susanoo in skeleton form in less than half a second. Bam! His Susanoo is hit by a heavy kick and crack. Cracks appear all around it. Suzuki looks at his attacker and sees Yuryuki looking at him with a certain familiar coldness that can sometimes be seen in Yami's eyes. Fwoosh! Suzuki flies backwards. Bam! Breaking through the wall and going at the corridor, Yuryuki is about to give chase, but Mei gets up and says, "No need, sweetie, I will take care of this." Then she goes towards the hallway where Suzuki is and she covers the hole made by him when he was kicked away by Yuryuki. Yami still has a smile on his face. Interesting, isn't it? That Mangekyo has amazing powers, but soon, he will go blind. He then looks at Onaki and asks, "Who do you think will win?" Onaki snorts in annoyance. "You really like your games, Yami, but do be careful, playing too much is harmful." "Ha ha ha ha!" laughs Yami out loudly. "That is true, but..." His expression turned into a ferocious one. "When I play, I am always 100% sure of my victory." Onaki shakes his head at this. "Then how about a bet?" asks Yami, catching the curiosity of Onaki when he says that. "And what would the bet entail?" inquires Onaki. Yami smiles mysteriously at that. "Well, it will be a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But anyway, I bet that Suzuki will somehow escape her. If I win, you will have to try to kill Suzuki personally. If you win, I will give you 10 billion ryo. Deal?" answers Onaki without even missing a beat. He has nothing to lose in this, plus 10 billion ryo is a giant sum of money. Onaki gives Yami a side glance again. He can't help but think. For him it's mostly pocket change though. He wasn't wrong about that. He knows that even though Yami's wealth is not public knowledge, it is estimated to be close to 1 trillion ryo. Boom! As Onaki was thinking that, he sees Suzuki breaking through the wall, breathing heavily and some scorch marks along his arms. "Damn, guess I lost the bet, this pisses me off." He floats from his seat and criticizes Suzuki. "You are too arrogant, brat." And as he says that, he clasps his hands. A small shining cube appears between them. The cube then quickly grows in size and surrounds Suzuki as he tries to jump back. Atomic dismantling jutsu. Immediately Suzuki is supposedly turned into dust. Boom! Then as if on cue, the Reikage comes through a wall and screams. "Where is Suzuki Uchiha?" Gaara with his siblings and Ai's bodyguards also come from the hole that the Reikage made. But Onaki, while still floating, looks at Ai and answers nonchalantly. "I killed him." The Reikage becomes enraged at this. "What? You had no right to do that, Tsuchikage. After what he did to B, Suzuki was mine to kill. Maybe you will have another chance," says a strange voice seemingly out of nowhere. When everyone turns to look where the voice came from, they see a man with an orange swirly mask and Akatsuki cloak. "Well, hello there, my name is Madara Uchiha." As he says that, Suzuki is sucked away in a space swirl. "And I would like to tell you about my Eye of the Moon plan." That is when Yami finally gets up and says. "So you say that you are Madara Uchiha?" Obito's lone eye looks at Yami, and when he sees that Yami has gotten up. "So, Yami Inyazuka, it seems like you have decided to sit up from your throne when you heard my name." Yami smirks at this. "You stupid or something?" "Obviously not, I was just surprised that someone as weak as you calls himself Madara Uchiha." Fwoosh! And he moves in a dark flash towards Obito. Author note. A lot of changes from canon. Karin wasn't there at all, and Zetsu didn't spread his pores around the cage meeting room, due to Yami being in there. Anyway, now that Yami has finally set up, means that he has finally decided to act. 220, Yami and Regrets. Chapter 220, Bonus Chapter. Title, Yami and Regrets. As soon as Obito sees Yami come towards him in a dark flash, he uses Kamui to turn himself intangible. Immediately around Obito dark flashes appear all over. Whoosh. Yami then appears next to the cage and poof. Two shadow clones appear next to him and they immediately also disappear in a dark flash and keep attacking Obito. Yami just coldly looks at Obito and says to the other cage. He is intangible, but if that is so, then he can't keep this up forever. Also, poison won't work, I have already poisoned the air around him. Meaning that this is most likely a space-time technique where he teleports his body somewhere else and leaves behind just a half mirage. But don't worry, he too can't attack us at all. Obito immediately looks at Yami with a resolute look. Yami Inuzuka, you are truly dangerous. Figuring out my ability in seconds. But even if you know of it, my ability has no weakness. When Yami hears that he smirks. Except that you can't keep it active for an extended period of time and it is most likely a Mangekyo Sharingan ability. Obit frowns at this under his mask. He is dangerous, better get out of here or he might actually find a way to kill me for real. Though unlikely, Yami Inuzuka is very familiar with space-time techniques. Anyway, I only came here to announce that I, Madara Uchiha, declare that the fourth ninja war has begun, ... Says Obito slowly from his right eye a suction force is made and his body starts disappearing. Yami's eyes narrow at this. Whoosh. And he throws a kunao with his full strength, it easily breaks the sound barrier and it goes towards the hole in space where Obito suddenly his Kamui stopped functioning for a split second and that is when Yami appears in front. His face is in front of Obito's vision, he can see Yami's cold dark eyes. SHT is the last thing Obito thinks as he feels his own body starting to be ripped apart. Burst. Obito's body explodes in bloody chunks spreading all over the room. Yami just looks at this with cold eyes as his fist is slightly smoking. It seems like this Madara Uchiha is really nothing big. Says Yami, as he looks at the body parts of Obito littering the room. The other cage are shocked at this. Yami on the other hand has a smirk on his face as he thinks. True Kamui has no weakness, unless it is another Kamui that is. Disrupting it then is very easy. But suddenly Obito's body starts disappearing. Yami's eyes widen slightly at this. Izanagi, so he had another eye that allowed him to use it. Just like he did against Konan. Well, I guess he will get to live for a little bit more. Thinks Yami, not really seeing it as a surprise, he already saw this as a possible outcome. He could go into Kamui dimension and kill Obito there but decided to keep that as his hidden card for a little more. The cages just look around and Aniki asks. Genjutsu. Yami shakes his head slightly. Not quite, it is Izanagi. A type of genjutsu of the Uchiha which allows one to temporarily rewrite reality to their advantage, so anything like injury or even death becomes just a genjutsu. So this Madara guy is still alive then? Asks the Raikage, his enmity towards Yami is completely not shown. They are ninja, they have control over their feelings, even if Yami did kill his father. He knows that they have a bigger problem in front of them. Yami then turns around and looks at all of the cage and their bodyguard in front of him, even Mifune, the leader of the Land of Iron. Yami's eyes shine red for a split second before he says. Now. I suggest that we should create something like the allied shinobi forces. The other cages nod at this. Oniki then suggests. I know that this might come as contradictory because of our negative relationship, but I think that you should be the leader of this alliance Hokage. Yami nods at this with a smirk on his face. But of course, I will humbly accept this position of mine. But on the inside, he couldn't help but think. Kota Amatsukami really is something scary, isn't it? Glad that I already killed all of the Uchiha so I don't have to worry about it appearing ever again. The alliance was announced all over the elemental nations, the fourth ninja war has begun and the enemy, is the Akatsuki. The ninja alliance is 100,000 strong. All of the 5 great elemental nations grouped together, even some minor hidden villages and samurai joined together. The army was 100% financed by Yami Inuzuka personally, no one needed to pay anything. Making some people make the joke that Yami is so rich that he must SHT gold. There were many meetings with the strategic teams of each village. But as this all was happening, Yami's clone was truly managing the war efforts. While Yami's real body is currently in the blood swamp, where his summons live. Every sage chakra user within the swamp could feel that the whole nature chakra was going like a whirlpool towards Yami who was just meditating atop a tree. This continues on for hours on end, making some creatures in the swamp wonder how can someone absorb so much nature chakra so fast and at such quantities. Slowly over time, Yami's skin starts turning pale, as if all of the blood in his body is leaving. Immediately Yami opens his eyes and sees that it's evening. He takes a deep breath and gets up. He can feel that his senses are currently all in hyperdrive. He can feel his body's strength, though this is only a temporary transformation. Yami knows that currently, even if the whole current world teamed together they wouldn't be able to beat him. He then sinks his hand on his chest and pulls out the evolution cube, the thing that keeps continuously evolving his body. But it still can't evolve me from anything. Contemplates Yami, this cube pales in comparison to something like the Hogyaku, which can evolve something from nothing. But soon, I shall reach the heavens and sit down upon that throne. He then makes a hand sign and poof! Thousands of clones appear all around him, they all immediately sit down and go into meditation in a scene that terrified all of the blood swamp inhabitants happens. They don't feel nature chakra anymore as immediately as it is created within the surroundings, the clones suck it up. Yami smiles at this, all of the parts to his plan are in place. He then uses wind chakra to rip off the clothes that he is wearing and he is covered by smoke. He is wearing some blue ninja pants with a blue t-shirt, and the Hokage cloak on his shoulders, the Hokage hat is on his side. He immediately disappears in a dark flash. And he arrives at the top of the Hokage mountain. He knows that he is unlikely to see this view anymore now. This will be the end, Yami will become a whole new existence after this war. He can't help but think about his family, and this time it wasn't the one in a whole new world but the one in here. My children, Kaiba, Hana, Nari, and Yuruaki. I want you to know that I truly care and, yes I love you, my children. But I will never be able to see you again. So sorry, but I can't give up my dream for my family again. I am going to be selfish this time. So, I will ask forgiveness for you, because I never could be a father to any of you. As he thinks these thoughts, he puts 2 fingers in his forehead and immediately 4 translucent white light balls appear to fly on 4 different locations. Those were a copy of Yami's memory and feelings in that last moment. He can't help it as a tear rolls down his eyes as he keeps looking at Konoha down below him. I truly love this world and have enjoyed every second I have lived here. Even as a tear falls down his eye, Yami still has a smile on his face. Go to Discord to see the image. Author note. Yami is for the first time showing his true feelings now. He is grateful and left his last thoughts to his children. His clones will also knock out his children so they don't participate in the war. P.S. Don't worry, Yami won't suddenly be nice, he is just feeling melancholic. And yes, he does care for his children, enough to not allow any of them to participate in the war. Though none of them are his weakness, he still cares for them. This story is finished on Patreon. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Patreon.com/holyjoker. Join the Discord, https://discord.gg/m9hghrm. 221, Things Brewing in the Dark. Chapter 221. Title, Things Brewing in the Dark. Yami in the end sighs and suppresses his feelings of melancholy. His eyes harden as he sends his clones knock out his children and take them to safety. He takes a deep breath and disappears in a dark flash. But while Yami was going to join the allied shinobi forces, in a dark cave with only a simmering candle as a source of light. In the darkness was a man leaning against the walls of the cave. He has long dark hair, snake-like eyes with purple eyeshadow, and very pale skin. It is Orochimaru, he is alive and healthy. He was killed by Sasuke. But he too learned something from Yami. You must always have at least 5 countermeasures for any situation, he never predicted that Sasuke would betray him. Well, at least not at that time. But I guess I never knew Sasuke 100%. Well, it doesn't matter anymore. Suddenly a swirl appears on the space in front of Orochimaru, he doesn't react at all as Obito comes through it. Well, I never expected you to be alive, Orochimaru, I for sure thought that you were dead. Orochimaru chuckles at this. Hoo, true, because that is what a certain man to be thinking. I haven't been out of this cave ever since I was revived. As Orochimaru says that Obito doesn't joke around at all either. He knows that against Yami you can never be too sure. Why did you call me here, Orochimaru? I am currently in the middle of a war. I don't exactly have a lot of free time. Says Obito, his lone Sharingan behind his orange mask staring straight at Orochimaru. His late experience with death at Yami's hands has made him smarter and not to arrogantly think himself invincible when intangible. But he knows best that Orochimaru is nowhere near Yami, and that isn't him being careless, he is just simply stating a fact. I am not asking you to trust me. I am just saying that we have a common enemy who is stopping us from reaching our goal. Says Orochimaru, his snake-like eyes get a cold light on them when he says. Yami Inuzuka has to die, he is too dangerous and I can give you the tools to defeat him. Obito seems intrigued by Orochimaru when he says that. And what would that be? Orochimaru's face morphs into a creepy smile. When I fought against the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, I summoned the 3 previous Hokage, but due to a sneak attack I couldn't open them and the bodies are currently in Konoha. Obito mentions Orochimaru to keep going, the latter goes through a couple of hand signs and he then slams his hand on the ground. Edo Tensei. Poof. And a coffin appears. Clank. The coffin opens and it reveals someone inside. Obito's eyes widen at this. Orochimaru sees and an arrogant smirk appears on his face and he then goes through dozens of more hand signs. Summoning Jutsu, Edo Tensei. Poof. Dozens of more coffins appear and they each open up revealing certain people. Orochimaru then looks at Obito and says. How does this seem? I spent the last month gathering these all, do you think that this will be enough to deal with Yami? Under Obito's mask, a smile adorns his face. Yes. Yes, it is. While this was happening, Yami on the other hand had teleported on the front lines and saw the ninja fighting against tens of thousands of white Zetsu. What seems to be troubling them is Zetsu's ability to copy the look of ninja and even their chakra signatures. He sees that Naruto, Kakashi, and many others are fighting against Zetsu. But even they are having difficulty as the Zetsu disguise as their allies and none of them can sense anything. Yami on the other hand just looks at this and shakes his head in disappointment. It seems like I should interfere. Byakugan. Veins appear on his forehead, immediately he can see everything within 50 kilometers, 31 miles, but not only did he see them, but he also in a way can see their feelings. Immediately he notices the Zetsu's dark lightning armor. Yami's body is surrounded by dark lightning and he disappears. Immediately he takes the heads of thousands of Zetsus within seconds. His natural speed amplified with dark lightning armor pushes his speed to something that is not comprehended by any ninja in this battlefield. Even the Raikage couldn't see anything. But that didn't last long as the 1-minute mark was hit, all of the Zetsus had already died by Yami's hand. He looks at the army and sees their surprised looks, he doesn't say anything. Usually, he would try to get some glory for himself to raise his reputation or something like that. But Yami didn't care about such things anymore. What are you looking at? Go and prepare for the next battle. Orders Yami, leaving no room for questioning. They immediately scamper away and Yami teleports next to Naruto in a flash. Naruto. I need to talk to you. He puts a hand on Naruto's shoulder and disappears in a dark flash together with him. They are teleported back to Yami's private Hokage tent. Naruto looks around confused by all of this. But Yami has a no-nonsense look on his face. Naruto. I need you to get control over the 9 tails, or else you are pretty much useless in this war. Naruto seems confused by this and he is about to ask Yami a question but as he looks up he sees 2 strange patterned Sharingan looking back at him. Yes Yami, I will do it. Don't worry. Says Naruto, not questioning Yami anymore as he makes a shadow clone one of his, which will help Naruto learn how to take control of the 9 tails, while the original is away. Just like this tomorrow comes, Yami didn't get a wink of sleep because first, he doesn't really need to sleep with his immortalized conscience, and second, he has many things to take care of. His natural reserves dropped to below 50% as he was up all night making shadow clones in order for them to take care of some things. But even though the chakra cost was high, he was able to make tens of thousands of shadow clones, each of them with its own mission. Yami himself was also in his own little super secret mission. A certain mission that only he himself could do, he couldn't leave such delicate things on the hands of his clones. But as he was teleporting around, suddenly he feels something strange, he looks around and poof. In a giant poof of smoke, dozens of coffins open up. Revealing dozens of strong people, previous Jinchuriki, the 4 previous Kage from different villages, some members of the Akatsuki, and even the previous 7 ninja swordsmen were here. Yami looks around him and asks. Well now, it seems like I am quite popular with so many people coming to party with me. They were all Edo Tensei of some of the strongest people this world has seen. Yami tries to see if hydration worked, but it didn't. Yami can't help but contemplate. Someone really smart must be up to this, someone was actually able to create a Fuinjutsu formula to stop my hydration. Well now. This story is finished on Patreon. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Patreon.com/holyjoker. Join the Discord, https://discord.gg/m9hghrm. 222, Yami goes full out. Chapter 222. Title, Yami goes full out. Yami POV. I look at the people around me. This combination is actually dangerous. Especially since one of them has something like particle release and that can definitely destroy my body, if I lose my strong body, my strength pretty much plummets. The others just need to restrain me for 1 second and I am pretty much done if I don't go all out. There is actually Nagato amongst them too, so he could actually kill my soul with his Rinnegan by using one of the 6 paths powers. The 3rd Raikage looks at me and says. Why Yam? I don't even let him talk, I don't care about his philosophical talk or SHT like that. I don't have the time currently. I just make 3 hand seals and summon a bunch of clones who do their own hand seals and cast countless barriers with privacy seals so no one from the outside can look on the inside. Immediately in half a second my hair falls down, and the countless Sharingan and 1 Byakugan at the back of my head, covering the Byakugan's blind spot. Immediately 3 of my Sharingan transform and change form in the Mangekyo. I input huge amounts of chakra in them. I guess it's time I stop playing around and hiding my power. Koda Amatsukami. Immediately all of the Edo Tensei stop and look around weirdly. I smile at them. Immediately black tendrils come out of my body and immediately piece all of them. They don't dodge obviously. Slowly I smile as I can feel all of their chakra get absorbed by me as curse marks start spreading all over their bodies. Anyway, it seems like Koda Amatsukami doesn't work after death. I did put Nagato under Koda Amatsukami before I killed him, but he wasn't under my control when Edo Tensei was used on him. But still it doesn't matter since when I get serious and immediately go full power I can't easily be stopped. I look at them all and look at Nagato. Take their souls now. I take out my tendrils as I absorb their power and chakra. But suddenly I sense bile rise at the back of my throat. Cough. And I cough. I look on the ground and see that I actually coughed blood. I see my body is approaching its limit again and my DNA is shutting down, unable to handle the countless Kekkei Genkai that I have within myself. I look around me and see Kisame as he dissipates and a dead body falls down. It is the ninja who was used as the sacrifice for his revival. I look at Same Hada sitting on the ground, and the other 7 swords. I bet Orochimaru thought that I had some type of weakness, or something like that. Like having such a huge group of people with different dangerous abilities in one place coming to fight me. Sadly for him, I have no weakness whatsoever. I didn't waste decades trying to perfect myself just to be taken down by a weak attack that can counter me. Anyway I pull out the red cube from my chest and put it down next to the same Hada. Even the sword who has a little intelligence fell under my Koda Amatsukami and it doesn't resist as the cube absorbs it. I then bring the rest of the 7 ninja weapons and slowly each of them get absorbed. I immediately put the cube back on my chest. Immediately I use the evolution cube to manually devour some of my overflowing chakra and temporarily stop my DNA crash down. My cells will soon change anyway, just lasting 2 more days is enough, my body can definitely hold on for at least a month. But, it doesn't matter, I am already prepared anyway. I can only use Koda Amatsukami only once more today. I have 4 Koda Amatsukami eyes on my skull. 2 Kamui, 1 Amaterasu, 1 Tsukuyomi, and 2 teleportation. I take a deep breath as I see that all of the Edo Tensei start dispelling. Sigh, it seems like I was correct, this is a new jutsu created by me when I was studying the first 3 Edo Tensei Hokage who are sealed in Konoha. I have learned a lot of things and how it works. It truly is fascinating and kinda scary actually, it defied the law of nature itself to bring someone dead to life. Death isn't something mysterious to me, I understand what it happens. In this world it is simply a passing of spirit as the body cannot hold it anymore. That is the oversimplified version of it. After this, I use my eyes to get out of this no hibernation zone. During this time too, in another part of the battlefield, many reanimated ninja were fighting against the Shinobi Alliance's troops. Of course the high-level reanimated ninja were being fought by other high-level ninja. Hanzo the Salamander was one of these. He is slaughtering some Konoha ninja when suddenly he feels the air above him shift slightly and he immediately jumps back. Boom! A figure crashes down punching the ground and creating a giant crater. Hanzo looks at the figure and he has a calm look on his face as he says. I see, so you are that woman from back then. As the dust clears up it shows a blonde woman with a giant bust. You are one of the Sannin, Tsunade Senju. I must say, back then when I gave you those nicknames I never thought they would become such a big thing. But then again, you still all got overshadowed by that other kid. Says Hanzo, at the end kinda mocking her. Due to his time of death, he never understood what really happened with Yami later on the years. Don't talk as if you are all high and mighty. Everyone got overshadowed by him. Tsunade didn't take the bait as she just calmly looked at Hanzo as she said that. I never got the chance to ever redeem myself after that fight with you. It seems like this will be the right time for me to defeat you and show you that the Sannin aren't someone who should be knows for only surviving a battle with Hanzo the Salamander. Tsunade powerfully kicks of the ground creating a crater behind her as she charges at Hanzo. The latter looks calmly at her, he can't help but wonder about the future world. Then let me ask you something, Tsunade Senju. Says Hanzo as he jumps back dodging another one of Tsunade's punches. Has war finally stopped, and I have seen some ninja from different villages fighting together. Is this some type of alliance, is this the last war? The war that will end them all. Tsunade frowns at this and simply says. No, wars will always continue, that is human nature. But that still doesn't mean that there is no peace. As Tsunade says that she high kicks the ground with her full power. Boom! The ground shakes and Hanzo loses his footing for a split second. That is all she needed as Hanzo was midair she punched towards his head. Pow! completely obliterating it. She then gives a side glance behind her and orders. Sealing Squad, come and seal Hanzo the Salamander. Author note. The MC has always hidden his cards and doesn't have a weakness in an ability. He can easily fight without his Hiraishin. After all, Yami isn't strong because of the Hiraishin. Yami is strong because, well, he is Yami. Also remember that reanimated corpses are usually weaker, they have infinite chakra which in some cases, someone like Atake would become stronger due to no longer having to deal with his sickness. P.S. When this story reaches 1000 power stones, it will get one bonus chapter that day. This story is finished on Patreon. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Patreon.com/holyjoker. Join the Discord, https://discord.gg/m9hghrm. 223, Minato and Kushina. Chapter 223. Title, Minato and Kushina. After a couple more hours, Naruto, who is currently in an unspecified underground place, it was a white room with no exit out of it and with a lot of Fuinjutsu writings on the wall. Yami's clone was there meditating and Naruto was doing the same too. Yami's clone finally opens his eyes and looks at Naruto. You ready? Asks the clone with a calm look on his eyes. Naruto opens his eyes too, and it can be seen that he has entered sage mode. Yes. He answers with a resolute look on his eyes. He was meditating as Yami told him, he needs to get rid of his negative energy before he can even attempt to try and fight the Nine Tails, or else he will just simply be influenced by the malicious chakra that the Nine Tails releases. Okay then, get ready, I will open the seal for you. Usually we would need to go and get the seal from the Toad Sage, but sadly we can't waste any more time. The Nine Tails' power is needed in this war. Says Yami's clone, while on the inside he actually has another thought inside his mind. I know that Jiraiya might have left a message for Naruto, thinking that I wouldn't be able to open the 8-diagram seal without the key. After all, not anyone can open a seal made by the Shinigami, but I can. I didn't just study the concept of death as an abstract thing for nothing. As the clone thinks that, he extends his fist towards Naruto and they both bump fists. Immediately Naruto feels something strange as his conscience is pulled inside his mental space and he is in front of a cage. He sees the nine-tailed fox looking at him intently and steam coming out of the beast's mouth. But suddenly the Nine-Tails looks behind Naruto and says. So you are here too. The Nine-Tails voice sends chills down Naruto's spine as he looks at the beast who for some reason has a strange look on its face and Naruto could swear that it almost seemed like it was fear. Naruto also turns around to look behind himself and sees Yami's clone in his Jonin uniform standing behind him. The clone is also looking straight at the Nine-Tails' eyes and has no fear in them. I am going to open it now, Naruto. After this, I can no longer help you in any way. Naruto nods at this and the clone then walks forward and floats in front of the giant cage. He rips out the paper holding the seal together and points his palm towards the seal. Dark energy extends from his hand and slowly the cage shakes and the water down there is turbulent as the cage is slowly open. The Nine-Tails and Naruto are all concentrated and ready to fight each other as Yami's clone fades away from Naruto's mindscape. But still as the clone got out of here, he looked below him and when he saw the water he couldn't help but contemplate. Is that the Nine-Tails' urine or something? As soon as he is on the outside world, the clone gets up and puts his hand on Naruto's head and slowly dark chakra flows through his hand as he does that. On the inside, Naruto looks at the Nine-Tails, neither of them made a move when Yami's clone was here, but as soon as he is gone. The Nine-Tails gathers his chakra and opens its mouth as chakra quickly gathers towards it forming a giant-tailed beast bomb. The Nine-Tails compresses the bomb and aims it toward Naruto. When Naruto sees this he immediately attempts to flee. But he is too slow and just like a blast the tailed beast bomb comes towards Naruto at speeds that he is unable to dodge. SHT, I am gonna die. Thinks Naruto, as he glances at the blast who has almost engulfed him. Whoosh. But suddenly a dark wall appears in front of him, no not a dark wall. More like a dark box as it surrounded the tailed beast blast and seals it. Poof. And then the box disappears in a puff of smoke. Naruto immediately turns back and breathes a sigh of relief. That was most likely Yami helping me. I can't allow the Kyuubi, Nine-Tails, to use a tailed beat bomb or I will be instantly killed. Contemplates Naruto and as he thinks of this he remembers Yami's words enters sage mode since technically he is standing still. He immediately turns around and does the shadow clone hand sign. Poof. Immediately dozens of shadow clones appear and they all gather chakra into their hands and with another clone's support they make a raise nan and then put even more chakra into it mixed with Naritra chakra. Odama raise nan. And each clone jumps up with giant raise nans in each of their hands slamming it at the Nine-Tails. Boom. But as that happens the Nine-Tails swings its tails wildly and destroys a huge number of the shadow clones, it gets up and immediately starts gathering chakra again. Naruto can't move quite fast enough to stop it, but suddenly. Cling. Chains come out of the water and grab the Nine-Tails by its foot toweling it over and suddenly a yellow flash moves around and. Bam! A raised nan is slammed in the Kyubai's face. Naruto looks at the two figures and he is surprised to see them. Mom. Dad. On the outside the clone Yami had a small smile on his face. He knew that Minato and Kushina left some of their chakra with Naruto. Since Naruto hadn't fought against Nagato, he didn't see his father when he was about to release the Nine Tails during canon timeline. But this time he hot to see them both when he broke the seal, and Yami's clone simply used this to his advantage. Putting Minato and Kushina, well more like shadow clones of them, under a genjutsu, and as they explain things to Naruto they will manipulate him to have an even better opinion of Yami, and that he was instructed by Kushina that he has to be strict to Naruto. When Naruto heard that, he remembers all of the times Yami has been harsh on him and how even when Yami reprimanded him, Yami still protected Naruto. 20 minutes later and Naruto opened his eyes, and he sees Yami's clone face. He can see a slight worried look on the clone's face and Naruto smiles at him. You are really nice on the inside, aren't you, Uncle Yami? Immediately the clown's face become annoyed. What are you talking about, kid? Anyway, did you take some of the Kyubai's power? Naruto nods at this. Yep, Uncle Yami. Don't call me that. Whatever you say, Uncle Yami. Yam's clone just grabs Naruto by the shoulder and both of them teleport away from here. TCH. Little brat. Says Yami's clone with a fond look on his face. So you did meet them. Minato and Kushina. Naruto smiles at that brightly as they are teleported on a forest. Yep, they said a lot of good things about you. The clone just looks to the side a little embarrassed and says. Whatever, brat. Poof. And so the clone dispels himself. With his last thoughts being hook, line, and sinker. The plan continues. Naruto can now sense emotions, but we have been able to do the same for decades. So we also have a countermeasure against it and fabricate emotions. The original will be pleased to hear this. In another place, Sasuke opens his eyes, with fully matured Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan in them. Author note. What? Where is Yami and what is he doing? Well, you will find out in the next chapter of Naruto, Dream to Immortality. This story is finished on Patreon. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Patreon.com/holyjoker. Join the Discord, https://discord.gg/m9hgrm. 224, The Two Meet. Chapter 224. Title, The Two Meet. Bonus chapter. As Sasuke opens his eyes he can clearly see around him, even with the bandages blocking his vision, he can still see through them. He looks around and sees that there are multiple white zetsus around him. He slowly takes off his bandages and his fully developed Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan appears. Whoosh! The upper body of his Susanoo appears behind him. Bam! He crushes all of the zetsu around him before they can even react. They aren't strong and many half-decent genin could defeat a zetsu in a straight-out fight. So Sasuke easily kills them all, even the so-called original is killed easily. Sasuke looks around again and notices that even in the darkness he can see so clearly that he doesn't think that he has ever seen so good in his life. But somehow he was confused, he understood something when he fought Yami. He can't do it, he can't even come close to touching the Hokage. He knows that Yami defeated even Tobi, or as he likes to call himself as Madara. But, he isn't even sure what he wants anymore. I know that Heisenberg is already dead. Killed and tortured in a mission gone wrong. I can't even say that Yami was in the wrong in doing what he did, what do I even do anymore? Contemplates Sasuke, unsure where he should go and what he should do now. He looks at the cave around him. I better get out of here then. The Susanoo then starts punching the ceiling. Soon he is back into the open and sees that around him is just a forest. He looks around and by the position of the stars, he can tell where he is and what time it is. He immediately decides to go towards Konoha, but as soon as he starts jumping from tree to tree a man in a red cloak walks past him. Sasuke immediately notices this and he especially notices the man's hair that is spilling out of his cloak. Itake! Thinks Sasuke shockingly, completely confused by this turn of events. Yami POV. I just look at the cave around me and can't help but smile. I just revived Itake and put him under Kota Amatsukami again. This time he will coincidentally run into Sasuke. They will then go and kill Orochimaru, while Itake will have him release the Edo Tensei and then he will seal him with his Totsuka blade. Anyway, I understand that the Totsuka blade and Yamata mirror are spiritual weapons, but I already have them now. Of course, as soon as Itake finishes his job, I will get back the Totsuka blade. I just cut off a part of his soul and got rid of its memories and made it pure and then I fused it with my own. It wasn't that hard really, though sadly as a consequence Itake won't remember specific moments about his life. Well, that is okay for me, I don't really care about it. I just didn't want to get influenced by his memories, that is the only reason I purified his soul. Orochimaru has really been a nice pawn, he played into my hands. When you know what someone wants, they can be very predictable, especially with my future knowledge. He is very predictable to me, he has been dancing on my palm ever since he left Konoha. It isn't that he wasn't smart or anything like that, it's just that he didn't know about my hidden cards, he didn't know that Sasuke was already under the influence of Kota Amatsukami before he left Konoha. Then Sasuke got Kota Amatsukami used on him before he killed Orochimaru, and he got Kota Amatsukami used on him again as he wanted to fight me during the Cage Summit. Every time they were only very specific commands, I can after all use Kota Amatsukami quite often, and even if I can't, I can just easily change my eyes with some Shisui clones who have their Kota Amatsukami charged up. Anyway, now the next phase of the plan begins. Orochimaru will die and the Edo Tensei will be released, that is when the hard part comes. Madara, he will be infinitely troublesome, not even Kaguya can be considered as dangerous as him. She just throws power around, but he will learn with every confrontation we will have. It seems like I will have to be extra careful about this or it could spell trouble for me. Because I must let Madara live long enough till Kaguya is summoned and then I win. A small smile appears on my face as I think of this. Future knowledge really is my biggest blessing in this world. It allows me to make plans that no one can follow or predict. General POV. On another side of the battlefield, after almost all of the Zetsu were killed, hundreds of Edo Tensei shinobi, samurai and monks come back to life fighting against the allied shinobi forces. But even with that huge number, the allied shinobi forces numbered at 100,000, so they easily took care of the undead troops and sealed them. That is when one of the Edo Tensei stops moving and his movements become rigid as he just slams his hand on the ground. Summoning Jutsu. Poof. And a coffin appears, and as it opens, a man with long spiky hair comes out. He has two fully developed Sharingan and a calm look on his face. He looks around and then looks at the one who summoned him. It seems like I have been brought back from the dead to fight a new war, says the man as he looks at the Edo Tensei puppet who summoned him. No, he is looking even beyond that, and he is looking straight into Orochimaru's eyes, which immediately unnerved the latter. It all seemed like he had already seen through him. Orochimaru then talks through the Edo Tensei that he is manually controlling. I must say, I am quite pleased to meet a man like you, Madara Uchiha. Madara just snorts in annoyance at this. He already knows what is happening and Orochimaru is trying to butter him up. So Madara only half listens to him as Orochimaru starts bragging on how Madara is now beyond even his prime and that the Hashirama cells inside Madara's newly created body will allow him to use wood style. And that is how you are now stronger than even in your prime. Your body is now a combination between you and your rival, Hash. Are you done now? Says Madara, not really asking at all. He just informed Orochimaru that he is done listening to him now. Ah. Sorry, I get a little excited when talking about my experiments and yo. Bam. A giant skeletal arm appears and crushes the Edo Tensei puppet that Orochimaru was talking through. Madara looks at the puppet and says, I am not your experiment, little man. I will show you something that you can never reach, a power so out of your understanding that you will worship as a god. Orochimaru smiled at this. Oh, I can't wait, he. Madara doesn't say anything as he summons his Susanoo and he does some hand signs, while his two-faced Susanoo does the same. Suddenly within the battlefield, a shadow descends, and the Shinobi Alliance members who have high morale due to being on the overwhelmingly winning side suddenly stop and look upwards. Immediately their spirits are crushed. What the hell, man? Is this the power of a god? Ha ha ha, what the hell, man? Am I dreaming or something? Whoosh. The clouds make way as the giant meteor comes towards the ground. But as everyone's spirits are full of despair, a dark flash flies up towards the meteor and touches it. Whoosh. And just like that, it is gone. Everyone looks at him wide-eyed, even Orochimaru, but he didn't look for long as Sasuke and Attack had just arrived at his base. The only one who wasn't surprised was Madara. He looked at Yami and had a calm look on his eyes. Yami and Yazuka, it seems like you have grown even more. Contemplates Madara as he looks at Yami, who has crow-like wings on his back and stays in there, midair while looking down at Madara. The two of them, both have chem faces as they look upon each other's eyes. Even as they are far away from each other, due to their strong dojutsu, they can see the other perfectly clearly. Author note. Next is, the Yami vs Madara fight, it must be a masterpiece. I must spend more time thinking about it. I must write the perfect fight. I need to get in both Madara's and Yami's heads and write the fight slowly and not rush it as I want them both to use strategies and such. This story is finished on Patreon. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Patreon.com/holyjoker. Join the Discord, https://discord.gg/m9hghrm. 225, Madara vs Yami. Chapter 225. A/N, totally forgot to say that I have two other stories on Web Novel 2, HXH, A Selfish Wish, and One Piece, Reborn as a Fishman. Title, Madara vs Yami. As Yami and Madara look at each other, the latter has a small smirk on his face. It seems like you are quite strong. I was wrong in thinking that only me and Hashirama had reached that level of power. Yami on the other hand just looked at him calmly. He didn't say anything at all as he just observed Madara. On the other hand, Madara had a different thought. He used Flying Thunder God to teleport the meteor away. His chakra reserves are definitely massive. He has definitely grown stronger, too strong. He grew so strong. During the third ninja was weak when we were observing him. Yami's eyes just coldly look at Madara in the eyes and then he narrows them. Cage. Calls out Yami, not leaving any room for discussion as next he says. Retreat. Leave Madara Uchiha to me, I can take care of him. Immediately everyone instinctively nods, even the other cage as they order the other ninja to retreat. You got those weaklings out of here, now you can fight at your full power. Yami Inyazuka. Says Madara, he still has a smirk on his face as he says that. He knows full well how Yami is and how he generally acts. But what he didn't expect is for Yami to just look at him with emotionless eyes, not saying anything. Yami is extremely careful around Madara, he doesn't say anything to him. He doesn't want to give Madara anything to work. When Madara sees this he smiles again as his Sharingan looks at Yami. You want to hide something, don't you? Well, it doesn't matter, you can keep your secrets for now. My Sharingan will soon easily see right through them. I see. Answers Yami simply. Whoosh. Immediately in a dark flash, he appears in front of Madara. Who doesn't seem surprised by Yami's speed at all as his eyes follow him. Yami then goes for a full power punch, but Madara jumps back and does one hand sign. Fire style, majestic flame destroyer. A gigantic tsunami of fire comes towards Yami, who also only makes one hand sign. Water style, giant water wave. Whoosh. A giant wave of water goes towards Madara, meeting his fire and covering the whole battlefield in mist. Which would normally obstruct someone's view, neither Yami nor Madara were really bothered about it. Yami even went through some more hand signs. Water style, hidden mist jutsu. Immediately the battlefield is surrounded with heavy mist filled with Yami's chakra. It makes it difficult for even Madara's Sharingan to see through it. But he isn't necessarily worried either since if Yami gets close to him or uses a jutsu, he will definitely notice him. Slowly around Madara, the Susanoo ribcage appears around him. His strength is dangerous, one punch and he will immobilize me. So I mustn't get directly punched even once or it's pretty much over. As Madara thinks that. Bang! He feels a punch connect with his Susanoo from behind him. He immediately goes underground with an earth jutsu as his Susanoo gets obliterated. TCH. With this body, I can't feel the slight movements in the air. I have lost all instincts and such things. I am definitely too weak in this form. Contemplates Madara, as he knows that even though he has a limitless amount of chakra he doesn't have even 50% of the power he had when he was alive. He has already analyzed the limits of his body, but against Yami limitless regeneration is useless because he will obliterate the whole body with one punch and as the body comes back together Yami can just seal Madara. Madara then gets up above earth and he just clasps his hands together. I need to make the battlefield to my advantage. Wood style, deep forest emergence. Immediately giant tree roots come from the ground and just like giant snake tails surge around the mist trying to find Yami who has blended his chakra with the mist. Madara frowns a little as he can't find Yami. In the end he goes through a couple of hand signs again and takes a deep breath. Wind style, great breakthrough. Whoosh. Immediately a giant typhoon pushes Yami's mist away. That is when Madara conjures his full body Susanoo and he looks at Yami who is just there standing up. He was being touched by the wood style roots, but there is no reaction from them. Immediately Madara comes to the conclusion that he too must have Hashirama cells and can use wood style. Yami Inyazuka, be glad, as I, Madara Uchiha recognize you as the strongest living ninja. And I shall also use my full power against you. Says Madara as his Susanoo grows giant and he then whispers. Settle. Whoosh. Perfect Susanoo. Immediately the gigantic Susanoo draws his sword and attacks Yami who still has a calm look on his face. The sword moves at incredible speed as at less than a second the sword is in front of Yami and he still has a calm look on his face. He clenches his fist and a dark bird-like gauntlet appears on his hand, and he then punches the Susanoo's sword. Boom! As they clash the ground around them trembles as if a high-level earthquake hit this place. The mountain tops around are all cut off and the hills are all settled down. Madara looks down at the figure below him, Yami has a frown on his face as he looks at his cut-off arm. The Susanoo's sword cut his arm like tofu with no problem whatsoever. Though Yami's arm had already regenerated and looked brand new, the old arm turned into a black goo-like substance. I can't fight his Susanoo with only my body head-on. Thinks Yami as he notices how this resulted. I guess expecting a punch to win against a sword was obviously not a thought of mine. But I did test out how strong his Susanoo is. In the end, Madara swings the Susanoo sword toward Yami, intending to cut him in half, but Yami just clasped his hand, and as the sword was about to reach him, boom! Guanyin Budhivetsva. Two giant golden hand clasped together into the sword, immediately stopping the sword on its tracks. And as that happened, Yami jumped up and clasped his hands again. This time his body is surrounded by golden chakra, and a giant golden construct of a Buddha with 100 hands appears below him, and he stands on top of its head. The construct is just as big as the perfect Susanoo. 100 type Guanyin Bodhisattva. When Madara sees this, he frowns at it. After all, this reminds him of one of Hashirama's finishing moves. Immediately that split-second reaction of Madara's, Yami noticed and decided to take advantage of it, as his Guanyin Bodhisattva attacks with palms, punches, and chops towards Madara's Susanoo. The latter frowns at this, and his Mangekyo Sharingan starts changing, slowly transforming into a Rinnegan. He then points his palms towards Yami. Shinra Tensei. Boom! As this was happening, on the other side of the battlefield, Obito was fighting Guy, Naruto, Kakashi, and Kurane when they all felt a sudden tremor, and then they looked towards the source of where it came from. Immediately their eyes widen as they see a giant mushroom cloud where Yami and Madara were supposed to be fighting. Author note. Took a long time to write this chapter. I had to make everything gradually evolve as the fight got higher leveled. Now obviously having infinite chakra is an advantage, but Edo Tensei definitely weakened Madara. Remember that time when the raised Nan that Yami used against the Raikage like Naruto did, it didn't work for Yami while it worked against the Edo Tensei Raikage. Well, it was because the latter didn't have that instincts that a living body has. This story is finished on Patreon. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Patreon.com/holyjoker. Join the Discord, https://discord.gg/m9hghrm. For images of scenes and such things. 226, Not Enough. Chapter 226. Title, Not Enough. While this happened and everyone looked at the giant cloud mushroom with widened eyes. But the Kyuubi inside Naruto had another thought process. That chakra, it is definitely Madara, he is here now. The first seeds of doubt start appearing within the Nine-Tails' mind. He doesn't know what he should do next. He personally knows how strong Madara is and he alone can never fight someone like Madara. But what about? His mind begins to wander on different possibilities. He is willing to do almost anything, just so he doesn't have to be under Madara's control anymore. At the same time in the battlefield between Yami and Madara, the latter was in his Susanoo governing above ground as he looked at the giant crater below him. Yami was sprawled in the middle of the giant crater. His face is completely calm and he has no injuries in his body. That was quite strong, says Yami calmly, annoying Madara a little due to his disregard for his power. He could see it in Yami's eyes. He wasn't worried at all during this fight. Are you looking down on me? Asks Madara rhetorically, already knowing the answer to his own question. Yami just shrugs while looking at Madara. Was I that obvious? Madara's eyes turn cold again. I see. Immediately he goes through some hand signs again. Wood style, wood dragon jutsu. Boom. Right from below Yami, a giant wooden dragon with its mouth open appears, and it's about to engulf Yami, but he just brings his fist back and bam! He punches the wood dragon. Crack. Boom. He easily destroys it. His eyes never left Madara even as he did that. He then smiles at Madara. You are quite interesting for an old relic of the past. Madara looks at Yami with a little fury in his eyes. But even though he was angry, they would never affect his actions or act reckless. He is too experienced to have something like anger cloud his judgment. In the end he just clasps his hands together and when he separates them a black ball appears between his hands. He throws it towards Yami, who just looks at the ball indifferently. His eyes cold as always. Yami already knows what the ball does, so there is no need to be panicked, scared, or anything like that. I should go on the attack too now, thinks Yami. Whoosh. Black wings appear behind him and he moves so fast that he seems like a dark blur towards Madara. Completely disregarding the dark sphere as it starts getting a suction force and the earth is going around it, starting to form a meteor. But Yami didn't care about it as he was in front of Madara who is inside his perfect Susanoo. Bam! Yami punches the perfect Susanoo with full power. Crack! The perfect Susanoo cracks, surprising Madara a little. What monstrous strength! He is actually toppling over the perfect Susanoo. Boom! The perfect Susanoo falls due to Yami using his full power against it. But he doesn't stop there as he immediately goes towards the down Susanoo and starts punching. Bam! 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 Countless hits descended upon the Susanoo, but Madara wasn't docile, rather as the Chubaku Tensei had created a giant meteoric structure. The giant meteor comes towards them as Madara was protected by the Susanoo, but Yami had nothing to protect him as he punched, but he wasn't worried about it at all. Fwish! Yami simply disappears in a dark flash as the meteor is about to hit him. He teleports away from the meteor. Boom! He sees the giant meteor crash into Madara. But immediately Yami realizes something. Yami POV. Damn, he did that on purpose. I actually knew that he couldn't defeat me as he was like that. Currently I can't sense him, so he must be regenerating. Well, it doesn't matter anymore, I had my battle with him and saw the difference between us. I was winning against him, he had no way to kill me. True, the Rinnegan does have the abilities to kill me, but he can't kill me, he can't catch me off guard, and he saw that even if we fought for days, in the end he would be the one to slip up and die. If he was truly alive, then we would be more equal, but then I would just use Kamui or Kota Amatsukami. Both of which give me the ability to easily kill him. He has no chance to win against me, it seems like I have already surpassed people like Madara and Hashirama. Well, I have surpassed them only because of my Kamui and Kota Amatsukami, two abilities that I plan to keep hidden until the right, critical and perfect moment. Well, I better get ready for the next stage. Suddenly I feel some blood gather at the back of my throat. Cough. Cough. I caught out some black oil like blood. Damn, soon, this body will actually get destroyed from the inside if I keep this SHT up. I will actually start to weaken in 2 days, thankfully I don't even need to wait for that much time. General POV. 20 minutes later and the Edo Tensei technique is released, dispelling all of the ninja summoned by it except Madara. This also signified Orochimaru's death. He was killed by Ataka, who was controlled by Yami. Orochimaru had no longer anyone to revive into, Yami's clones killed them all and took care of all of Orochimaru's revival methods, effectively killing him. At the same time, Obito's mask was broken off, showing his true identity, and that is when Madara appeared and screamed out loudly. Obito. Do it now. Obito was surprised by what Madara said, by his tone it pretty much said that he must be revived now or the plan might actually fail. Immediately Black Zetsu wraps himself around half of Obito's body and they clasp their hands together. Obito has one of his eyes which allows him to use Kamui and the other one of his eyes is Madara's Rinnegan which allows him to use Rain Rebirth. Immediately steam started coming out of Madara's Edo Tensei body and slowly his skin started to turn from Edo Tensei pale and clay-like to a healthy color. Ha 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 ha. Laughs Madara, shocking the people around him. Which consisted of Guy, Naruto, Kakashi, and Kurane. The latter looked at Madara with eyes filled with rage. She didn't even care that Madara just revived himself. Where is he? Asks Kurane with a deadly look in her natural red eyes. Madara has a smile on his face as he notices this. I asked you where is Yami? Screams Kurane, her face full of rage. Madara's smile widens at this. Oh, that guy, how can I say this, well he is. Immediately tears appeared on Kurane's face as she looked at Madara in the eyes. Genjutsu, restricting tree. As she uses that genjutsu, she immediately rushes towards Madara with a kunao in her hand. Madara just looks at this with a disappointed look on his face, he only has one Rinnegan on his eyes but his power is somewhere where not even Kurane can hope to dream of catching up to. Stupid woman. A skeletal arm with a sword appears and stabs towards Kurane. Author note. Yami is away again, he is preparing something else. As we can see, even though Yami can't one-shot Madara, he can still defeat him in his Edo Tensei form. Anyway, Yami is preparing something? P.S. Sorry if these chapters come a little late, but I am trying to write it perfectly, I literally deleted half a chapter because I didn't like it when I read it. P.S. When this story reaches 1000 power stones, it will get one bonus chapter that day. This story is finished on Patreon. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Patreon.com/holyjoker. Join the Discord, https://discord.gg/m9hghrm. 227, Ten Tails Jinchuriki. Chapter 227. Announcement, go vote in the Discord server for which will be the new story for web novel. Title, Ten Tails Jinchuriki. As Kurane sees the skeletal arm with the sword about to stab her. She isn't even thinking straight as she rushed Madara, Guy is about to go and stop her but before he can do so. Yami appears in a dark flash and grabs her in a princess carry. As Kurane sees this she is overwhelmed by emotions, seeing him all good and fine. But Yami just looks at Kurane as if looking at a stupid person and says. Baka, you are a jonin and a grown woman so don't act like this. Keep your feelings under control. As Yami says that, he then. Whoosh. He throws Kurane far away, as if he didn't care. But he knew that the battle between him and Madara would continue once more to fight and Kurane would have a head start to run away from here. Immediately, Madara used this time to signal Obito, who used Kamui and appeared next to Madara. He then gives him his other Rinnegan. Madara takes it and plucks it into his eyes. He then looks at Yami, whose eyes widen as suddenly. Bam! He feels something hit in the head. He frowns at this, he felt nothing at this, but he immediately has a theory of what hit him. Must be a Limbo clone. Madara immediately summons the Gedo Mazo below him and he moves in front of Naruto as Yami is occupied fighting an enemy that he can't see or sense at all. Yami POV. I can't sense anything, literally nothing as I feel a hit towards where a normal human's kidneys would be. With my Byakugan, I can see Madara go towards Naruto as he kicks Kakashi and Guy away. Immediately he sinks his fingers into Naruto's stomach, pulling out the 9 tails out of him. But me, I extends microscopic chakra strings all around my body, 3 centimeters above my skin. Suddenly I feel something hit the chakra strings. Gotcha. Immediately my chakra strings go around the invisible limbo clone and Fuinjutsu markings appear all over it. By the time I had this confrontation with this clone, Madara had already gotten the 9 tails and Naruto fell in the ground, also B seems to have gotten killed too. And immediately Madara touches the 10 tails with his right hand. Run! I yell at Guy and Kakashi. I will hold him back. Sensei! Says Guy, as he lets Kakashi run away with Naruto. I just shake my head. This is an order from your Hokage. Have some trust on me, Guy. Guy has a serious on his face, just like I taught him. Never panic in front of an enemy. He seems unsure of something, but then he turns around and contrary to my expectations he takes off his Konoha headband and says. I am going against Hokage's orders and am now a missing ninja, so sorry sensei, but I won't be listening to you this time. I am surprised by this, but in the end a smile appears on my face as I look towards Madara, who is still absorbing the 10 tails and tell Guy. I really raised a good student. Immediately a clone appears next to me and hits Guy's neck knocking him out immediately and picking him up and running away together with Kakashi. As soon as that is done, I rush towards Obito and before he could even move. Squelch! I sink my fingers into his eye socket, pulling out his Kamui. I can't allow Madara to get his one, I then look at Kakashi as he takes Naruto away and before he even notices. Squelch! I take his eye too, Madara is still absorbing the 10 tails, this all happens in a split second as I use one of my Mangekyo for instant teleportation within my sight. Kakashi seems like he wanted to say something but I just used Kota Amatsukami on him. I then looked at Madara who just finished absorbing the 10 tails, head of white hair and pale skin, and he became enveloped by a cloak of chakra that stabilized into physical clothing, a full-bodied black garment with black pants, gloves, and boots, over which he wore a flowing white robe with 6 black Megatama markings across his chest and the familiar pattern of a black Rinnegan and 9 black Megatama markings in rows of 3 on his back. A grey horn-like protrusions grew out of his left temple and overlapped his forehead into a protector with an upward curve on the right temple, giving him an overall appearance very similar to that of the Sage of the 6 Paths. I could perfectly see his appearance and chakra with my Byakugan. Madara looks at me and says. I commend you for your bravery, letting your comrades escape even when you yourself know that you could never hope to defeat me. I don't say anything, let him keep thinking that. But he is kinda right though, I can no longer fight him head on or I will literally die no matter. Well better enter Kamui, but as I am about to do so. I immediately sense 6 exact hits on my chakra pathways system. SHT it's the limbo clones, even more of them now. Before I could even enter Kamui I see a hand appear in front of my face and I see black. SHT. General POV. Madara uses his truth-seeking balls to create a wall and just blast Yami's body out of existence. Madara looks at him and doesn't say anything, mocking an already dead enemy is extremely shameful in his eyes. So he looks towards the horizon where Kakashi went. As Yami's clone who was carrying Guy frowns a little and looks at Kakashi and says. The original is dead. Kakashi's eyes widen at this. What? Yami is dead. In another place, Sasuke's corpse was laying on the ground, with no one around him as his heart was stabbed by his own sword. He died in extremely strange circumstances, also since Yami changed the timeline so much. There was no one around him, no Karin, Yugo or Suichito, he was all alone, bleeding to death. He had gone to Konoha to release the Hokage previously summoned by Orochimaru, but he only found the 4th Hokage who acted strangely, he was killed by him and Minato is currently teleporting towards Naruto. But Minato also had a strange look in his eyes. But during this time, in a whole different plane of existence, Naruto wakes up surrounded by a watery surface. He looks around and wonders out loudly. Am I dead? That would be by what you mean by death. Says a deep elderly voice that surprises Naruto turns around and sees an elderly man floating in front of him, he had the Rinnegan, he is the Sage of 6 Paths. Then Naruto asks who this person is, and the figure reveals himself to be none other than Hago Romo Otsutsuki, the Sage of 6 Paths himself. Naruto recognizes the name as he had previously heard it from Jiraiya, and states he is the one who created ninjutsu. Hago Romo corrects him however by saying he did not create ninjutsu, but ninshu, stating his creation was to inspire peace, while ninjutsu was made to create war. Following this revelation, Hago Romo begins telling him about his history, including his mother, brother, and how his 2 sons fought. Hago Romo reveals to Naruto that he is the reincarnation of his younger son Ajura Otsutsuki. He completes his explanation and he was simultaneously speaking with Sasuke too. He gave them both the Sage of Six Paths power. Both Naruto and Sasuke open their eyes in the real world again. Both alive and stronger than ever. But in the other realm where the Sage of Six Paths was floating, behind him a strange shadow appears. He is completely covered in darkness and he walks out if the Six Paths shadow seem like the one I sent here just died. Says the strange shadow, its voice cold and unfeeling. The Sage of Six Paths looked at the thing with a cautious look on his face. It would seem so. But a wide smile appears on the shadow. But is he dead though? Asks the shadow Hagoromo. The latter is unsure how to answer as he can hear in the tone of the creature that he is asking a rhetorical question. When he sees that Hagoromo seems to be waiting for his answer, the shadow doesn't say anything and a dark portal opens in front of him. Well, I guess my job is done here, the rest is up to him. I am a very busy person. And he just walks in the portal and closes it behind him. As a weird chuckle overtakes the shadow. He. Yummy, that truly sounds like a strange name when I say it. As the shadow walks away, the Sage of Six Paths breathes out a breath of relief. The first time he met the creature was 40 years ago, even he doesn't know what it is. But it is definitely dangerous, also it seems to have brought Yami Inuzuka here, whatever that means. Anyway, now that the creature is gone, I can observe the two chosen ones and allow them to seal Kagaya. Thinks Hagoromo, putting the dark shadow's existence at the back of his mind. Even he himself didn't notice that he dismissed something like that, it was completely strange. Author note. As we all know, Yami is alive, I won't even let you wait for the next chapter to hear that. It was pretty obvious in this chapter. P.S. Yep, that shadow is the thing who brought Yami here. It will be revealed what it is soon. P.S. When this story reaches 1000 power stones, it will get one bonus chapter that day. This story is finished on Patreon. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Patreon.com/holyjoker. Join the Discord, https://discord.gg/m9hghrm. You can become part of the votes if you join Discord, and I also share pictures of the different characters. 228, Gate of Death. Chapter 228. Title, Gate of Death. A couple minutes before Naruto opened his eyes, Kakashi together with the dead Naruto on his shoulder and Yami's clone who has Guy on his other shoulder arrived at the moment. They arrive at where the rest of the allied shinobi forces are. Madara on the other hand, as he traveled towards Kakashi and the others, he let the 10 tails appear on its tree form and spread its roots when he saw that there were a bunch of shinobi. He will just wait for it to grow to its full capacity as it absorbs the chakra of the people around him, then he can use the infinite Tsukuyomi. He saw that a lot of people ran forward to protect Naruto and fight him. Yami's clone also ordered them. Fight. Fight him. We need only some time till our plan comes to fruition. When the ninja heard that, they were refueled with new vigor. They went towards Madara to try and fight him, but the giant tree that had grown now to a gigantic one and it seemed to almost sprout like a flower. Its roots moved and as it touched the ninja and sucked their chakra dry, immediately killing them and sucking their chakra. Thousands of ninjas sacrifice themselves before. Boom! Out of nowhere a wind blast appears and destroys all of the roots. Madara looks towards the figure and sees a man, with red vapor like chakra coming out of him and with tears coming out of his face. Damn it! Yami-sensei, you always said that one must be calm when fighting an enemy. But I can't stay calm in a situation like this. Screams Guy, his voice full of anguish as his body goes past his limits. Space around him seems to bend as he moves. Madara immediately recognizes the danger that Guy is to him. Pow! Guy kicks the air once and appears in front of Madara and kicks his midsection. Bam! Immediately Madara's body is separated in two as it is blown away. This bastard, his power is dangerous. Thinks Madara as he feels that every one of Guy's movements is deadly. Guy, due to being trained by Yami, he is now way stronger than his original self ever was, so Madara is completely overwhelmed by him. But at the same time, Madara is stronger than he was originally supposed to be too, since he has the 8 tails too, and only half of the 9 tails is missing. So as Guy rained countless hits on Madara, destroying his body countless times. Guy appears to Madara's side. Pow! 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 Like a countless mirage, Guy's punches hit Madara's body, splattering it around except his head and Madara protect his head, but Madara's body, and every piece of his blood connects together. Madara was using his limbo clones to put his parts together quickly and as Guy is about to hit Madara's now exposed head he screams. Die! Madara! Squelch! But suddenly, out of Guy's back, a dark arm appears, a shadow moves along its body as its hand runs through Guy's body. Instantly killing him, as his body slowly turns to ash. Damn it! Yami-sensei, damn it! I couldn't even kill your killer. Damn it, if only I was stronger. Thinks Guy as his mind is slowly surrounded by darkness and his body is fully turned to ash, and he died. Naruto hadn't woken up yet to do anything like save him. During the original timeline, Guy only survived because of luck. This time Naruto wasn't there to save him at all, so he simply died. 10 seconds later and Naruto opens his eyes, and as he senses Guy's chakra disappearing a tear drops down his face. On the other side Niji looks as Guy's body turns to ash. Guy-sensei. Lee was currently unconscious, he had overused the gates before in one of the fights against an Edo Tensei ninja, so he wasn't here to witness Guy's death. Ten was in a whole battlefield and she wasn't anywhere close by. Madara sees this and he doesn't say anything. He just looks at Guy's ashes as they fall to the ground. I apologize to you warrior of the 8 gates, but I couldn't give you the death that you deserved. Says Madara, his voice full of respect. He understood how strong the resolve of an 8-gate user has to be in order to open the 8th gate. But in the end, he is a ninja, and playing dirty as a ninja is no big deal to him. So he just looks towards Naruto as he senses something weird from him. But Madara's eyes widen as he senses an attack from behind him. Whoosh! A giant purple Susanoo sword attacked him. He used his truth-seeking orbs to block it. He sees Sasuke, who now has a Mangekyo Sharingan and a Rain Sharingan. Bam! But as he blocks Sasuke's attack, he senses Naruto again somehow teleport behind him. Lava style, Rasen Shuriken. Boom! That hits Madara in the back and it pushes him towards the 10 Tails tree. And as his back hits the tree, the lava Rasen Shuriken cuts him in two and it even cuts the tree behind him. His lower body all regenerates again in an instant. Madara analyzes the situation immediately coming to a conclusion. Some chakra gathered at the kid's Rinnegan before the blonde kid was teleported. Meaning that Sasuke Uchiha has a teleportation ability. He then feels a sword teleport to his abdomen and pierce him. Madara cringes at this. His teleportation seems more like replacement of space, meaning that he can change positions with something. But the blonde hair brat was teleported behind me, it means that scene air can be used as a teleportation replacement. Madara immediately realizes Sasuke's new power just by observing his power twice. Showing his bountiful experience in fighting and suddenly he hears a strange voice on his head. Absorb me. Madara looks around and strangely sees no one who said that. He then looks at the tree. Is it the Shinju tree? Does this mean that it's ready to activate the infinite Tsukuyomi? While Madara was thinking this he immediately goes towards the tree and Naruto and Sasuke try to stop him, but Madara summons his limbo clones which hold them back for a couple seconds, and that is all that he needed, as he goes and touches the Shinju tree that was toppling over. Whoosh! Immediately the tree starts to be absorbed into his body. During in another place altogether, in a certain place, there is just a puddle of blood. This is the place where Yami died. Suddenly his blood disappears as if it didn't exist even to begin with. And out of nowhere, Yami and his body being fully okay appears. Izanagi. One of the countless Sharingan on his skull turns blind and closes, and a cold look is on his face. Author note. Yami is back. P.S. Strangely difficult to write the ending even though I know everything that will happen. Author notes are old, already finished the story. This story is finished on Patreon. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Patreon.com/holyjoker. Join the Discord, https://discord.gg/m9hghrm. You can become part of the votes if you join Discord, and I also share pictures of the different characters. 229, The Final Battle. Chapter 229, Bonus Chapter. Title, The Final Battle. Yami POV. That Madara, he was really smart using his Limbo clones like that. I could have entered Kamui, but I would have brought the Limbo clones with me too as I put my body in the Kamui dimension and that is dangerous as my plans go along. So I let him kill me. Honestly I was outclassed by him so it doesn't matter anyway, also my Kamui must remain a secret till the last moment. No one yet knows that I have Kamui and Kota Amatsukami, there is a reason why I haven't been overusing them after all. I immediately connect to a Hiraishin mark that I have had on Sasuke and Naruto, well let's see what is going on in there then. Byakugan. Immediately I can see up to 50 kilometers, 30 miles, I can immediately see what Madara, Naruto and Sasuke are doing. I also see what is going on with the Shinju tree. I see Madara absorbing the tree and his power rising up again. Welp, it seems like Plan 2A it is. Plan A will still continue and it seems like there will be no need to go to Plan B at all. Okay so, this is it then. I look up and see the moon start to redden. Madara is casting infinite Tsukuyomi. I immediately close my eyes and surround myself with earth so the genjutsu doesn't reach me. I then enter the Kamui dimensions too, as I know that escaping the infinite Tsukuyomi isn't quite easy. 10 seconds later and I come back, I can see with the help of my Byakugan that Madara has been stabbed on the back by Zetsu. Welp, this is my chance then. I disappear in a dark flash. I then immediately see Madara facing towards me. Naruto and Sasuke are both looking at Madara's transformation. Welp, time to work then. I make a one-handed hand sign, immediately both Naruto and Sasuke freeze as countless curse marks spread around their bodies, paralyzing and blinding them. I have had so much time to modify their bodies. I obviously did so. I was prepared for a scenario like this, and Plan A is still at play here, but it seems like Plan G will have to be eliminated. That is the plan where Naruto and Sasuke defeat Kagaya like in the canon timeline. I see that Madara looks back at Zetsu and then at me. You backstabbing bastards. I don't pay attention to a dying dog like him. Instead I go towards Naruto and Sasuke, I use Koda Amatsukami on them and stop them from acting up. Then slowly, my smile widens as I touch their heads, I immediately delete every single memory from them. The nine tails inside Naruto wanted to say something about this, but just a Koda Amatsukami on it and it's back to being the docile pet that he should be. I have planned for this, for way too long and have thought of every possible scenario. I am as prepared as I can be. After deleting their memories. Squelch! A disgusting sound is made as I sink my fingers in Naruto's and Sasuke's brains. Chimera technique. Immediately their bodies melt down into a black puddle and the liquid flows towards my body. General POV. As the liquid and now dead Naruto and Sasuke flow towards Yami, he just opens his mouth and the liquid flows in. Immediately his chakra amount skyrocketed, he could feel Naruto's and Sasuke's souls inside his belly, he immediately started destroying them and devouring them both. He then took a deep breath and spit. He spits out an orange ball and the ball slowly transforms into a giant nine-tailed fox. It was Kurama, who stays completely still. The souls of Naruto and Sasuke got destroyed now. He had already modified the Chimera technique and with his knowledge of souls, he knew how to devour souls. This was the time when Kagaya fully took form and Madara's half-dead body fell to the ground. Yami now had Sasuke's Rinnegan on the middle of his forehead. He looked at Kagaya and said, "Well now, good morning." Kagaya. She just looked at Yami with tears in her eyes. As her hair extends towards him, Yami just looks at Kagaya and whoosh. He appears behind Kagaya, who in response opens a portal with an ash bone coming toward Yami and all of her hair gathering together to attack him. But he has a smile on his face as the hair and the bone attack passes right through him. Kamui. Yami reveals his trump card as he easily passes through Kagaya's attacks and on his palms there is a sun and moon symbol. He materializes his hands and touches Kagaya. Immediately Kagaya looks at Yami in despair as she knows what will happen next. But contrary to her expectations, what is on Yami's face is just a smile. Kagaya's eyes strangely widen, this time not in surprise but a strange trace of recognition to them. But Yami doesn't let her finish as countless black tendrils come out of his body and stab into Kagaya. Chimera technique. Kagaya is someone who uses raw power to fight, so she never understood the way Yami fought, nor could she come up with a way to counter him. She tried to teleport to another dimension but she couldn't, she tried everything she could but she couldn't even move anymore. The black Zetsu under her sleeve tried to move but suddenly another arm has reconstructed at Yami's stomach and caught Zetsu. What the hell are you?" said Zetsu, but Yami didn't answer at all. He knows how fragile really the situation is and he might actually mess it all up. He isn't someone that gloats at his enemies or anything like that. So he easily kills the black Zetsu, ripping him apart by using his Kamui. As Yami's hair falls out and countless eyes appear on his skull. Looking around wildly. Slowly a shadow encompasses Kagaya's body, she can't even say anything as she is easily overwhelmed by Yami. Yami doesn't smile or celebrate this. He doesn't scream in joy or anything. He knows that currently his plan is at its ending phase, Kaguya's body is painfully morphed into liquid and it flows towards Yami as it is absorbed through his skin. Immediately his skin turns white and his hair turns silver, his new Otsutsuki bloodline easily encompassing the other bloodlines and absorbing them. Yami then immediately activates his evolution cube inside his body, the evolution energy running through him as it evolves his body completely. Slowly but surely, his body is coming closer and closer to its perfect form. 2 minutes later and Kagaya is defeated. Yami just has an empty look in his eyes as he looks at his hands. Tears drop from his eyes one by one, it wasn't tears of sadness. It was tears of joy and gratitude as he destroyed Kagaya's souls inside his body. If he said the battle was hard fought, that would not be true. It actually went almost exactly to plan, he didn't even have to go to plan B, C, D, E, and F. He is glad that it ended like this. He doesn't want to have some epic battle, he actually hates fighting. He doesn't want to fighting someone stronger than him, he hates doing that too. Yami even hates manipulating people, he only loves absolute power. He doesn't find pleasure uncertainty, not knowing if he will live or die. He hates that. Ha 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 ha. A small laugh rings through this now empty and silent world. For the first time in countless years, Yami can finally express his emotions without the need to hold them back. The look of pure joy that appeared on his face was mesmerizing and terrifying too. He is grateful to himself for staying true to its goals and dreams and just like he wanted. Byakugan. Whoosh. Yami felt something that he has never felt before. The range of his current Byakugan is the whole surface of the planet. He can feel it, he can feel his first step towards omnipresence, he knows that his journey will most likely never be over. He knows that he still has that greed in his heart and he now wants more. He looks towards the earth and senses something strange. So there was another Otsutsuki One Earth? I didn't know of that. Thinks Yami and. Next Yami does someone that should be impossible, he uses his teleportation Mangekyo Sharingan, which allows him to teleport to anywhere within his vision. Whoosh. Immediately he appears next to a human who is in the middle of the woods and strangely he isn't under the effects of the infinite Tsukuyomi. The man is a fairly tall and of light complexion. He sports a shaved head, apart from a long mohawk of black hair tied in a long ponytail style reaching his lower back, pronounced eye ridges void of brows, a broad nose, and large red eyes. He also has a diamond tattoo on his chin and the Roman numeral tattooed below his left eye. But Yami immediately knows what is wrong, as he looks through the man's ear and sees the miniature Otsutsuki. He bore the telltale features of the Otsutsuki clan, including pale skin, and a long, curving horn which grew from his left brow and wrapped around the back of his skull before jutting outward from his right temple, resembling a crown. The iris and pupil of his right eye is yellow with a black wheel-like pattern with 8 spokes coming out of the center, while his left eye was a Byakugan. Yami moves at unimaginable speeds as he easily kills and destroys the surprisingly strong Otsutsuki. He also absorbs his power altogether. Author note. Yami didn't have any glorious battle, he hates that. He hates having to struggle against someone. He planned of everything, him having a hard battle would be illogical. In another 2 or 3 chapters this story will be over and we will see how Yami's story will end. He had future knowledge and knew the powers of his enemies. Him losing this battle and how he hid his power. He maximized his chances of winning. P.S. This story is not over yet. This story is finished on Patreon. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Patreon.com/holyjoker. Join the Discord. https://discord.gg/m9hghrm. 230, Back Again. Chapter 230. Title, Back Again. After absorbing the now named as Heike Otsutsuki, Yami clenches his fist and is a little surprised by the power boost he got from him. He then takes his memories at its raw form and destroys their emotions connected to the memory and he starts watching it like a movie. In the end Yami just frowns disappointedly at this. What a dumbass, he got betrayed by Kaguya when they landed on Earth. Welp, what a loser, all this power and in the end, his arrogant personality was the thing that stopped him from greatness. Well in the end to him it doesn't matter. What matters is that he has now learned where the other Otsutsuki and their clan are. Well now this is interesting to Yami, quite interesting indeed. He then controls his Byakugan's vision as he whoosh. In an instant he is teleported at the end of the Earth's atmosphere and almost reaching into space. His Byakugan now reaches to the moon, and he immediately teleports to where some of the Otsutsuki clan branch members live. Before they could even react, he just absorbed them and then he immediately puts even more chakra into his evolution cube to optimize his genes. It feels like there is no ending to the growth of the Otsutsuki genes. Contemplates Yami, as he doesn't even feel the DNA collapse or anything like it. Though he currently needs to go into a cooldown and strengthen his soul a little bit more before absorbing some more Otsutsuki. They will make some nice prey for me. Guess I should make my own eye on the moon plan. At the side of Yami's skull an eye appears, more specifically a Kota Amatsukami eye. Infante Kota Amatsukami. Then slowly another eye appears, it was a clone of Ataka's eye in Yami's right eye socket, a Rhine Sharingan appears. Infinite Tsukuyomi. On the moon, the image of the Tsukuyomi and Kota Amatsukami are reflected. Madara and Kaguya wanted for a type of eternal peace for the people in their dreams. Yami cares none about that, he used his Tsukuyomi to modify everyone's dream and make it a perfect copy of reality. Even the laws of physics are the same. Next he used the Kota Amatsukami to put the idea in people's head that they must create as many new ninjutsu in their lives. Then Yami makes a hand sign and poof. A whole part of the planet is surrounded by smoke as around 1 million shadow clones appear. They immediately go down there to where the people in the infinite Tsukuyomi are being held. They will do daily inspection on them from today till eternity. Also there was another order, give his children, legitimate and illegitimate ones their own lives and how they would like it to be. Yami, their father will always be there for them. This is Yami's last gift to his children, an eternity in happiness. This is his heaven for them, as he knows that a real heaven doesn't really exist now. He knows that he can visit them whenever he wants in their lives, this is his way of protecting them. For he will never take them with him, he knows how it will end if he does something like that, he will be betrayed by them. Eternity is a very long time. Yami POV. I look at the beautiful earth below me as I am currently in space. I see that everyone, or more correctly, everything on Earth is under my control now. Also the smartest people on the planet will be working for me and developing techniques for eternity, for me. Geniuses at the level of Orochimaru all around the world, working just for me. I wonder what they will be able to come up with. But in this way, just like humanity, I will always continue to evolve. But still, I want some more. Well then, time to go some Otsutsuki hunting. General POV. Since that day 3 years have passed. The Otsutsuki were already exterminated by Yami, all of them, devoured by him. His body, chakra, jutsu and everything else is at the limit. He has gained so many abilities, form the ability to read fate, see the future, erase time, even enter different dimensions. Ever since he gained the ability to travel to different dimensions, he also has the ability to see where one comes from one of the countless Otsutsuki that he has devoured. And that is what is confusing him, because when he opens a portal, Yami can see a string that can teleport him to a certain place, which definitely isn't Konoha. So, I can return home now, hey? Thinks Yami, as he has a little conflicted look on his face. But in the end he comes to his decision. What should be done must be done. I can't cower out of it once more. But I still have some things to take care of here. As he thinks that, Yami looks at the turtle-like thing in his hand as tendrils start devouring. Time travel has been acquired. Thinks Yami as he then opens a portal in front of him. This is the second dimension, or also known as Limbo, or the place where Hago Romo, Shinigami, Jashin, etc. should be. Yami has a smirk on his face as he is confident in taking them down too. As soon as he walks through the portal, he sees that he is in a grey world with water below him. Nothing makes sense in here as Yami immediately notices that not even the laws of the world are different. But when he activates his Byakugan, he sees something that absolutely shocks him. What the hell is that? Thinks Yami, his face full of shock at what he sees in front of him. The Shinigami, Hagoromo and countless other dead beings nailed to another already giant dead being who seems like a fish with countless hands made out of darkness, they are also all dead too. Also that dark being with the hands made out of darkness, is that the being who was attempting to grab me as I was getting reborn here? Yami POV. I also see something else written on the body of the dark fish-like being with hands of darkness attached to it. The writings say, "Catch me if you can." And, it was written all in English, a language who no one in this world should know. My mind immediately connects the dots on who it is. It is the thing who reincarnated me. I have always had a most likely theory for who the being that reincarnated me is, let's see if this is real then. I open a portal back to my original world and I step through it. Immediately I am in outer space. I am already invisible, so no satellite or anything like that can see me. I see my beautiful original Earth. The countless satellites around it, and, with my Byakugan I can see something that brings me a little despair. 43 years have passed in here since my death too. I immediately just teleport towards my apartment where me and my family used to live. When I entered I saw 2 old men chatting together happily. One was a brown-eyed dirty blonde-haired old man who looked around his 50s. This is someone I am very familiar with, and even if I didn't see him for 40 years I recognize him. He is my little brother. Next to him, it is another old man. This one seems around his 60s as his hair is all white from old age and he too has brown eyes. That old man. That old man, is me. Author note. Ton. To Yuan. P.S. One more chapters till it's over. I will post the chapter today too, the same with my epilogue of my HXH story. 231, The End. Chapter 231. Title, The End. When I see an old version of me, I am completely shocked. How is this possible? I died 40 years ago, this shouldn't be possible. I can't understand what is even going on here, what is happening, why it is happening and how it happened. I can see that the me in here is healthy and normal, he has no chakra in his system or anything weird. What is going on here? Am I just a copy of him or something? I can see that he has the same look in his eyes that I have. Suddenly, as if lightning hit me, I came to a realization. Oh. I think I get it now. I immediately teleport away from this place and go into a secluded underground, undiscovered cave. While in there I just open a portal. This portal isn't your average portal and takes quite a lot of chakra to activate. It looks like a dark black hole. This is a portal to the past. I immediately walk through it, and by the chakra I put into it I can calculate the date I go back into. This should exactly be the perfect time. I just calmly walk through the portal. Immediately I come back to a place where I will never forget. This is that fateful day that I died. I see that the sun is up and it's quite hot outside. The sun is shining and a black-haired, brown-eyed young man is walking on the side of the road with a calm look on his face. He is wearing a white short-sleeved t-shirt and black jeans, with also black and white sneakers. He has a red and black backpack too. That is the past me. I don't even need to analyze his facial expressions to know what he is thinking, because I already know. He is planning on how he will go to college and build some connections there, and after that he will screw over the company that he will work with and make enough money for himself so he can retire at 30. He then plans to use that money so he and his family can have vacations, they can enjoy the rest of their lives. Pretty good plan, but it obviously has countless flaws that I just couldn't see back then. Anyway, I look around and I can immediately tell the clock. This should be a couple of seconds, yep, just like I thought. I see a guy in a red sports car drive as the past me is just walking on the sidewalk. This is it, this is the moment where past me will die. Brrr. The car roars as she gets close to past me and... Whoosh. It just drives right past him, and past me just walks normally, not even paying attention to the car that walked past him. What? How is this possible? I know that I died. Did someone mess with my memories? I know. I know what happened. My theory was always correct, it's just that I didn't want to admit it. Damn it. I make another time portal and travel 30 seconds to the past. I see the red sports car driving again. I just extend one chakra string towards the car's tires and... Poof. Boom. The car rolls, killing the driver in impact as the car rolls towards the past me. The past me can't even dodge as immediately caving in his chest and past me chokes on his own blood and dies, his brown eyes wide open. Humans truly are fragile creatures. Thankfully the whole universe could explode and I would still be okay. Well, there is the thing that people could go to the past and kill me when I was weaker, but sadly for them, the hundreds of millions of clones in the Naruto world would notice them as soon as someone entered that world. Welp, now I know who reincarnated me at least. I reincarnated myself. I grab my past's fragile soul and revive my body, bringing it back to life and awakening it. Also giving it my past self's memories and creating a small normal soul and keeping the conscience all together. I then travel back to the future where I see the future me talking with my brother and I still have my past soul with me and I open a portal to travel back to the Naruto world. As I do so, I just walk through the portal and surround myself in darkness, making me appear as just a dark creature made of shadows. When I go back to that world, I immediately have my Byakugan active and search for a certain unborn baby. Yami Inyazuka. And I set my soul upon him. My soul starts traveling towards the body by following the light, but immediately dark hands appear from the second dimension and try to grab him. They are the creatures who can sense an intruder that appears on this world. Whoosh. I cut the hands off and looked towards the now live giant fish-like creature with dark-like hands all over its body. It tried to grab my previous self's soul. But I didn't allow it. I immediately entered the second dimension and looked at all of the creatures in there. A third eye appears on my head and Infinite Koda Amatsukami. Immediately all of the creatures in here, even Higuromo easily comes under my control. I literally absorbed all of the Otsutsuki, and those things could enter the second dimension too. Well, second dimension is called limbo by them, but whatever. I don't care. I am stronger so I can name SHT as I like now. What are they gonna even do about it? Nothing, because they can't do anything against me. I am not scared of any of them now. I could SHT down their throats and they could do nothing but swallow. Anyway, I will have to stay here and protect the past me against anyone, like a time traveler from the future, the Shinagamis, or something like that. He can deal with the mortals and grow at his own pace while I take care of the godly beings from staring him to shreds immediately. 42 years pass as I just start absorbing the power of all of the beings here in the second dimension. I also nail them to the giant fish-like being and write on it. Catch me if you can. A message to my past self, also I leave a minuscule trace of our original world. To help him a little. Welp, now here I go. I use all of my abilities to create a crack on the dimension where I am currently. Also surprisingly immediately as I transferred it changed something, the young baby whose soul was being devoured by the past me, it writhed in pain and kicked the mother in the stomach. So Tsum's father saw that and decided to not have a baby yet, so actually Tsum was born a couple of years later than she was supposed to. Anyway, I now have gained quite a lot of power. I can literally see everything in the Naruto world and know its past ever since its creation, I even know the origin of chakra. Anyway, this world now has no more benefits for me. Except my clones which manage the people under the infinite Tsukuyomi. Anyway, this portal in front of me, is a new ability of mine. I can now enter the third dimension. Or more correctly known as the multiverse. I also immediately sent countless clones to travel at the infinite Naruto and get rid of all of the time travel devices. They will continue doing this for eternity since the alternate universes are endless. Thankfully, there is no alternative me running around since I already isolated this Naruto universe, it can't create alternatives at all. So no me coming to kill me or something like that. Anyway, now I can use the third dimension to travel to other anime or media worlds. I immediately enter the portal again. I can't tell which world I will travel to, because unlike my own previous world which I had a tie with, I have no connection to any of the worlds. As I step through the portal I am in the outskirts of a universe surrounded with stars and such things. My senses immediately spread all over the universe and I realize where I am. HXH universe, that is cool. I immediately try to enter it but immediately I felt resistance and, what? This world is resisting me and stopping me from entering it. I decide to push a little harder and boom. That universe is destroyed, it used its power to try and resist me. UPS. Anyway, I go to an alternate version of this universe of HXH, and this time I don't try to do anything like that and try to actually think of how to enter this universe. I obviously know one way, which is to make my soul pure. It pretty much means that I have to give up all of my power and then I can confuse this world's natural system into thinking that I was created here. Just like I kinda tricked the Naruto world to put in my previous world soul. Anyway, it seems like I will have to think of something and analyze this. Better just enter the fourth dimension, that place is where nothing even exists and at the same time everything exists. It is an imaginary plane created by the thought process of every living beings in the multiverse. I go there and after thinking for a couple of decades I come to a conclusion. I just wave my hand and a giant medieval city is created. I just sit there and smile. I have figured it out. I just rebirth alternate versions of myself into these new worlds. I can then copy their powers after they gain enough power to meet me. I will leave them an opening to this place. What should I call this place? Oh, I know. I will call it the Citadel. Anyway, I am nowhere near omnipotence, so my journey will have to continue. Ha 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 ha. When I get lonely I will visit my family, I will go to the past or something like that. This is perfect now. I am so happy, I am ecstatic, I can do whatever I want, I can act whatever I want. I can RP, kill and everything that I want. Anyway, I will just have to keep rebirthing alternate versions of me and then I will have to copy their powers. Also I am now strong so I can let them live in this city so it doesn't get too lonely. I grab the soul of an alternate version of myself and put him under a genjutsu so he sees some strange scary things. I then throw him towards the HXH world, hope he isn't reborn as a girl. I am new at this so I don't have the precision to make him be reborn as who I want as. Anyway, now I should get and watch some anime from my world. Go into the future of my world, get the finished One Piece and start reading the manga? Or should I watch the anime? Ha 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 ha. The end. Author note. Damn, this is over now. Thank you for following me. It's been a ride. I am in college at the end of the first year now and when I started writing this was around when I had the college exams. Damn, time passes so fast. Anyway, I will probably write another Naruto story again in the future too. But this MC will be during Naruto's generation, and now we know who will reincarnate him. The R.O.B will be Yami. We also saw how Yami's personality drastically changed as he became so powerful now. He is no longer really cautious, he doesn't need to be, he will be spending his time watching anime and reading manga as the others finish their lives. Also other worlds who consider him as an intruder try to fight him as he tries to enter them, so they then self-destruct. Also I realized that Sam's age was wrong during the beginning so now that plot hole is fixed. Also this is why I didn't write the epilogue of HXH, a selfish wish, because he will meet Yami, that will be another thing that I have had planned for a long time. Anyway. Thank you for reading this. I had difficulty writing the ending because it felt as if I was literally ending an integral part of my life. I have spent so much time thinking about this story and now it feels surreal that I won't have to think about it anymore. Hope you also read my other stories and the ones that I will continue to write for years to come. See ya on one of my other stories, brothers. P.S. I didn't reread the chapter. I couldn't, I don't know. It just felt surreal. So if you see any grammar mistake just write me on the comments or on Discord. P.P.S. Yep, Yami reincarnated himself, and that dark figure that we saw a couple of chapters ago was the future Yami. Vote for the next story that will be on web novel. Also check out my One Piece Fishman story too. 232, update. Oh yeah, I have an original story out by the way. Called, The Game of a Blood Mage. Also have a One Piece story. Called, One Piece, Reborn as a Fishman. P.S. I usually don't do promotions of my author stories, but some people were commenting that I should do it. So here it is.